Game on.
Oops. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pipeline, our DC TV after show. Today, we kind of have a big one today, but welcoming back to the channel, I have the one, the only, the fantabulous Toxic Taz. Taz, thank you so much for coming back on and chatting with me.
Thank you for having me back on the show, man. I really appreciate it. I mean, this is fun. I love it.
Yeah, the second that we did the last one, I'm like, all right, I need to get this man back on somehow. It was so much fun. But yeah, like this has been kind of like, I feel like this is the biggest DC TV we'll ever get again. Like this is it, man. Like
Yeah, no,
four
there's
shows,
yeah.
crossover events. Like this is the last time we're ever going to be getting this, and I think that's something really special. And I kind of wanted to hop back on. Yeah. So of course we have that Flash trailer that dropped today. We have new episodes about Superman, Lois, and Gotham Knights. We also have the big Titans episode and an upcoming episode of The Flash, which is massive tomorrow. Like I'm so excited, and we will kind of talk about everything. But just like right off the bat, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you. I appreciate you inviting me back for such a big week in just like DC content in general. It kind of feels like we're back in the old days where we would get, all these crossovers, all this news all at once. It just it makes me feel nostalgic, I guess, for all
Sure.
all the stuff that we used to get. But it's great that we're, maybe I guess kind of going out with a bang here for the Arrowverse. A lot of fun stuff, a lot of big content coming out. All kind of rapid fire here.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got some absolutely crazy stuff. I think these next couple months for like DC is going to be a lot of fun. And then next year is going to be very slow. But I'm going to
Yeah.
enjoy just like the rest of this year. I think we're honestly pretty packed with a lot of fun DC stuff. Starting out straight, LBM, what's up, buddy? How's it going? And to kind of jet start our stream, I was hoping we we were kind of like supposed to get some kind of like CW like next star news
Yeah.
today. I was kind of disappointed because I've been really wanting to know what's happening with all of these shows, the like two shows that we have left, and to see what's happening like with their future. And I assume it has to happen soon. Like
Yeah,
I
I
good,
think I saw something about that happening maybe like later on in May
sure.
is what I saw. But yeah, I hope we learn something sooner rather than later because it's kind of just like I want to know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But we do have a couple of news stories that I do want to talk about. This one came out, I think, a couple of days ago by this point. So, Dead Boy Detectives. Now, I don't know how much you've been following the show. It was originally supposed to be a Doom Patrol spinoff, and then they're like, nah. But then it got picked up by Netflix, and now we kind of don't know what it is. So apparently, this new Netflix show, Dead Boy Detectives, is going to be taking place in the Sandman universe. Did you hear about this?
I've heard some things about this, like I knew it existed, but aside from that, that's kind of the extent that I knew
Sure.
of it. I know obviously we got a like Sandman reference in Stargirl,
Hmm.
but aside from that, I'm not super familiar
Okay,
with
so
all of this. Yeah,
you didn't watch the Sandman show then?
no, I didn't. No,
Okay.
no.
I never finished it. I got about 3 episodes in. I really liked it. I just haven't got around to finishing it. I do think this is kind of interesting though, just because how this show has kind of like hopped around from thing to thing. It was like
Hmm.
part of like one universe, and it was on its own, and now it's part of this other like DC universe, which is kind of interesting that we are getting another DC universe. Like, we're already like kind of like stepping into a new era for DC. Obviously, we got the like
Right.
DCEU, then we have the Matt Reeves universe, and we got a couple of other stragglers like hanging around. But like
Definitely
this,
an Elseworlds thing.
yeah, sure, sure, sure. I wonder if we could like expand on this like even further, because I know Sandman was a really popular show. A lot of people really,
Hmm.
really liked it. Um, and we also have, I don't think is going to be connected to this, but we also have Sweet Tooth, which is also on Netflix and is also like a DC
Hmm.
property. So maybe like Netflix can breed their own like DC content. That I
Yeah,
think could be kind of interesting.
yeah, that's definitely interesting, especially since like what was it, Titans internationally is viewed as a Netflix show, so
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting to see Netflix picking up a lot of DC properties. So that's definitely a possibility. Like if something doesn't survive, I know we're gonna get into it in a little bit about Superman and Lois, Gotham Knights. Maybe if these shows don't have a future on the CW, possibly Netflix could come in, similar to how they saved Lucifer back in the day as well. I
Sure.
feel like that's definitely a possibility.
I think that's what a lot of people would want. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
Superman and Lois on anything else but like the CW would be what people would love to see. I think I'd prefer Max. Like I just
Right.
love the idea of everything kind of in like one place. I
Yeah,
think
I do too.
it's so strange because like we almost had that. Like we were so close to getting everything in one place, and now we got like Amazon and like
Yeah.
Adult Swim and CW and Max, and it's kind of a crazy situation currently. But yeah, I don't have too much to say on this. I just found this very interesting, and I'm curious about the show for like when it does come out. I'm
Yeah,
very
yeah.
curious.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely like we were saying, it sets an interesting, I guess, an interesting precedent going forward. So, will Netflix have their own kind of DC universe going on in the
Sure,
background, or as its own like Elseworlds universe?
sure. This one, I wasn't sure if I should have included this piece of news, but this has got a lot of traction over the last 7 hours or so. So, Blue Beetle, obviously, this actor, I love this guy, right? Like,
Yeah.
Cobra Kai is great, it's amazing. But the man has been getting quite a few a flack for this comment that he made over at a CinemaCon, and he basically talked about how Blue Beetle is such a unique character because he doesn't want to be a superhero, and that's what makes him like separate from all the other heroes. And I think there's been quite a few heroes that have also felt very similar
Oh
to
yeah.
this character.
I mean, the reluctant hero trope is definitely a big thing. So I feel like it was kind of just one of those things he might have just. I mean, it's happening at the convention. It's probably just
Yeah,
something he said. Didn't think too much of it. I wouldn't take this quote as like gospel for the movie or whatever.
sure.
I think it's just a one-off comment, and he didn't mean for it to be like he's super unique because he doesn't want to be a superhero. I think it's just kind of like just the reluctant hero trope.
Sure. Like he's not a comic book expert or anything, so like it's fine. Like these are just things that like actors say. I'm not holding this against him. I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but no, I'd be very curious to kind of like I am just very excited for this film. Like
Oh yeah,
I'm
me
so
me too.
curious.
Yeah, that
I'm
first trailer
very
looked really good.
It did. I'm also just very concerned over it. Like I don't think this is going to do well with just like your modern audience. Like I think us like DC fans, we're obviously going to go see this.
Hmm.
We're going to have a real good time. But I don't know. I hope this movie does like really well.
You don't? Do you think it's gonna make 1 billion Beetle bucks at the box office?
No.
It better.
I I think it might do less than Shazam. And that's
Yeah,
scary to me.
yeah, but I mean, I feel like because wasn't this supposed to be a straight to HBO Max or now Max
Yeah,
movie originally? So I feel like that means that it doesn't need to make too much to be
that's
profitable.
true.
So I feel like even if it does kind of like match like Shazam, Black Adam, that type of thing in that range of profit, I guess, maybe it will be seen as better by the higher ups and everything like that just because it was kind of a lower budget project to begin with. So that's at least what I'm hoping.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, no. I also don't think this is a one like I think some might stop like him going forward, but I don't think Blue Beetle is a character that would stop like James Gunn for like using this character. Like I think like even if it makes like low money, I think he'll still like throw him in. Like I
Oh
don't
yeah.
think
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to kind of introduce him into the new DC universe too, because it seems
yeah,
very disconnected from anything. It could literally be its own Elseworld story if it wanted to be. It's not connected to the previous universe. It's not connected really to the new universe, as at least what we've seen so far. I
hmm
mean, they could add something like a post-credit scene, maybe connecting to their what was it, the Booster Gold project,
yes,
or something like that. I mean, I feel like that's really the only connection we could see in a post-credit scene that's very easily slotted in or taken out, depending on where they want to go with this character.
he's also a character I think that can kind of be thrown in anywhere. Like you can put him in Booster Gold, you can put him in like Teen Titans, you can put him
Hmm.
in like Brave and the Bold if like you really wanted to.
Yeah,
Like he's a character that can kind of fit in anywhere, and I don't think he necessarily needs his own projects, his like own solo things. As much as I
right,
would love
right.
like a Blue Beetle 2, a Blue Beetle 3, you
Hmm.
don't need it, I don't think. Like he can Teen Titans, man.
Yeah.
I want Teen Titans so bad.
Yeah, no, I definitely think he could be used as a decent a good side character to like show up in other people's movies, show up in team up movies, that type of thing. They could just be like kind of like a one and done solo movie for him, but still let him show up elsewhere, you know.
Sure. Sure, absolutely. But that's all kind of like the news stories I have for today. I guess we could just kind of jump into our after shows as they were, starting off with Superman and Lois. So Superman and Lois, I'm so sorry. Superman and Lois this week. You start us out, man. What did you think of this newest episode of Superman and Lois?
I mean, we jumped right back into things. It was interesting seeing that they kind of like mentioned a 1 month time jump. So we, get to see Lois a little bit further along in her treatment process. We get to see how it's not only affecting her, but affecting Clark as well. And I think there's a very interesting story this week with just kind of, having to accept what was going on. Obviously, Clark was kind of in denial, I would say, of the reality and the gravity of the situation with everything like that. And that was definitely the tough A story of the episode. And I think, Bitsy and Tyler did an amazing job just acting wise this week and everything like that. Then we had a couple smaller side stories and everything, but I'd say probably my favorite extra bit was all of the Jordan training and all that stuff. That was fun.
Yeah, no. I mean, this show just like once and for all, and it's been a couple weeks since we chatted about it, so a couple things have happened since then. But no, I think just this overall story that we're telling with Clark and Lois is really good.
Yeah.
This story that we got introduced back in like episode 3
Mm-hmm.
of Clark not being able, like he can't save Lois. Like that's his thing. He's
Right.
never been able to not save someone before. Um, and this arc of acceptance for him and not just he can't like do anything. And I think this idea of like, well, like of course I can save like everyone, like you're gonna pull through it, like it's no big deal. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious. What did you think about just that, like Clark's like acceptance arc here?
I mean, I thought it was a really good story for him because again, it's very hard to show Superman struggling with certain things because he's usually able to punch his way out of everything. And in this scenario, he's very much so powerless, and the only thing he can really do is stand by, be there for Lois, and just kind of wait and see how things play out. And I think they played that very well this week, and just kind of that overall acceptance, I think, of just what's happening. He has to accept, like, hey, even though I am Superman, there are certain things that Superman can't do, you know?
Sure. No, I also just enjoyed Clark just kind of like, I think they've done it a lot this season, but he's doing just very Clark things. Like he's not doing a lot
Yeah.
of like Superman things. He is doing stuff as Clark Kent a
Mm-hmm.
lot more this year. Like he's going to this like therapy session, and he's going around the hospital and stuff like that. And I think that's just such a great Superman thing, is like
Right.
him being around just like your everyday people. Like I think that's
Mm-hmm.
such a sweet thing for him to just be able to do. And like I think this story, like I think just this story, I've never seen anything like it in any other like superhero show. Like I've never,
Yeah.
like we've never spent so much time on a, I don't want to say a normal concept because it's not a
Mm-hmm.
normal concept. It's a very interesting one. But like I think that's the main focus. It's not about Bruno. It's not about trying to stop these bad guys. It's about first and foremost trying to save Lois Lane. And I think I'm loving it so much.
Right, right. And I mean, even in this episode, Lois said that the cancer is her villain. Like that's the whole point of the entire season, it seems like. And it seems like not and they're showing not only is it her villain, but a
Sure.
lot of other people's villains as well, which I guess will bring us into a lot of the stuff that was happening with Bruno and everything this week too.
Sure. But we can come back to that in a couple of minutes. One of our side stories here was Sophie. Sophie was
Yeah.
back this week. A lot of people wanted her back. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why, but a lot of people really wanted this character back and to
Just the
kind of
missing
know it.
characters.
Sure. And she had a lot of screen time, and obviously this was an arc about her feeling left out and running away from home. And of course, this isn't anything new. Like we've seen this in so many like other TV shows and such.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you think of this entire storyline?
I mean, I think really, while it was to show kind of a different side of, I guess, the Cushing Lang family dynamic, that type of thing, I think it was also meant to maybe parallel a little bit of how Jonathan is feeling maybe, left
Mm,
out of his own family. There's a lot of stuff going on that he can't really control. He has no real, like, I guess, direction as far as he doesn't feel like he has a place at the moment, because we have Jordan training with their dad. Lois is going through her treatments and everything like that, and he just doesn't really have, I guess, a direction now, and which is why he, took up
sure.
weekend job with Kyle at the fire station and everything like that. So I feel like this story was kind of meant to, I guess, just parallel how Jonathan might have been feeling, and which is brought us to that really good scene between Jonathan and Sophie there when they found her later on in
Yeah.
the episode.
It's kind of interesting because it kind of feels like they're also pairing like what the fans felt last season. Like one of the main
Mm-hmm.
things was like Jonathan has nothing to do. He's not doing anything. He
Right.
needs powers. He needs this and this and this. And I think it's kind of interesting where now that's exactly how he feels as well. Like now
Mm-hmm.
it feels like it's not only was not like an issue, but now it's kind of like, oh, like this was all done on purpose. I don't know if it
Right.
was, or if they're just like that good at like writing it, but it is kind of like looking back on it, it's like, oh yeah, he's feeling that exact same way that we are.
Yeah, no, he's definitely acknowledging that too, and I like how he was just the little aside. He was like, basically, I took space drugs. Like that was my that's what I did. That's what I did last
Sure.
season. I had nothing else to do. I messed up the football team and took X kryptonite, and that was about it. So I think it definitely it's kind of maybe like an eye opening thing for him as well, to kind
Sure.
of try to find his path, try to find his purpose, and he feels, he can help people in a different way if he works, volunteers at the fire station, that type of thing. I feel like maybe, we're getting into trying to find what he can do without powers. I thought we were definitely going to be going in that direction with the
Sure.
fortress and everything this season, and we haven't had quite as much of it as I
He
would
hasn't
have
been there once,
liked.
huh?
No, yeah, it was interesting because, at the end of last season, Clark was like, "Oh, it's for everybody," and the only people that have been there this season are him and Jordan.
Sure. They like teased last year like a storyline about like alien weapons, and I wonder if that was dropped or if we're just saving it for the back half. Because I
I
could see with
mean,
like Bruno,
mm-hmm.
maybe something could happen still.
Right. I feel like that's possibly all tied into like Inner Gang and their, kryptonite weapons and that type of thing.
Sure.
But maybe we'll get more of that explained, or maybe it's just kind of, left up to audience interpretation to be like, oh, well, that's where Bruno's getting all this tech from, maybe.
Sure. Sure. And also about Sophie, like I did really enjoy it. Like it's kind of interesting because I got a little emotional during her like his like speech scene, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was very impressive because Sophie's a character that we've seen maybe 5 times in like bulk.
Right.
Like she's not a character that we see very much, but this scene about her feeling like left out and like abandoned kind of hit
Mm-hmm.
home. Like I kind of thought it was like a really like emotional scene.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was definitely very well done, and it showed that both of these young actors are actually really really good at their jobs as well.
Sure. Sure. But coming with that scene, we also had a Kyle, Chrissy, and Lana scene. Obviously, we got
Mm-hmm.
this ongoing love triangle story
Mm-hmm.
with Kyle and Chrissy and Lana not knowing. And we did end the episode with Lana finding out something's going on with them.
Right.
What do you feel? How do you feel about that whole thing?
I mean, it's definitely like side drama for the sake of side drama. I feel like, just to kind of, have these characters, I guess, have a purpose this
Sure.
season outside of, well, obviously we have our big story with Clark and Lois. So maybe this is something that's just like a little bit less heavy. I think is maybe the whole point of it. Is it's just like, oh, it's just silly romance drama. Like
Sure.
we'll just, take a break from the big heavy stuff and just kind of throw that in there as just a little bit of a reprieve or a break from it, maybe.
Sure. this feels like the most CW I think the show has like ever been. Like it's
Yeah.
very it's very something that you would see in like a Riverdale or like a Vampire Diaries. I don't think that's a bad thing. Like I
No.
like some drama every now and again. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't go the like direct like you're seeing someone else twist. Like I was hoping like it kind of felt like they wanted us to think that that's where it was going, and then they would have a scene where it's like, oh, you know what, I'm happy for you, and
Mhm.
kind of move like do a different twist on this entire story.
Yeah.
I do wonder how long we are going to push the story. Like where do we see Lana next episode? Does she tell the kids? Does she approach Kyle or Chrissy herself? Does she
I
hold it in until the last episode? I'm very curious.
I think it's gonna all kind of like push her more towards, I guess, the John Henry Irons relationship, probably, because I
Mm,
feel like that's something that they've also been setting up. So it's kind of
sure,
like Kyle's moving on now. This is a, maybe like a wake up call for Lana to move on as well and be like, okay, well, you know Kyle's doing something else, maybe I should, try something
sure.
else out as well.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm very curious about like, the end game of everything, because
Mm-hmm.
if we do end the season with them moving and going to a different
Right,
city and
right,
stuff,
right.
I imagine that those characters stay. Like I can't imagine everyone just moving to a different city. The only side characters I can see moving is of course Sam. I don't think Sam matters.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course the Irons. I
Right.
could see them coming with, but where
Mm-hmm.
does that leave
Where
this like
this
other
is
family? Yeah,
right. Yeah, I mean, because they're supposed to be, I guess, kind of our like grounded take on what just the standard common people of
sure.
Smallville are, because we're there, that's just the connection, I guess, to the community there.
Yeah,
So would we have them replaced with a similar family in Metropolis? But the fact that we have Lana knowing about Clark being Superman, we have Sarah knowing about all of that as well, there's a possibility, I guess, they're still kind of tied together just because they know that secret. And obviously, it's wouldn't be too difficult for, Clark Jordan to travel back and forth either. So we could maybe just have like interior shots and everything like that.
sure.
Not like the whole Smallville set or anything like that, but just like, oh, we're in Smallville now, but we're inside of a building, so it doesn't really matter.
Sure. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I'm very curious. I think like the closer we get, the more I'm thinking like, all right, I think we're either moving there or we're canceled. Like I think it's like one
Yeah,
of the two
yeah.
things here. Which I would be very curious about. Like I think soft reboots are so important. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
more shows should do it. I
Yeah,
love the idea of like a new town and like a new cast, and I
right.
think it can do so much for like a show. I would love like getting like a Jimmy Olsen or
Mm-hmm.
like a Perry White or something to like make the show a little bit more interesting and
Yeah,
maybe a little
yeah.
bit more fun.
Yeah, and I would definitely take it almost like as how, like, in the later seasons of Arrow, they changed up the Arrow Cave just to like
Sure.
freshen things up. So, a change of scenery would be nice, and definitely a way to, I guess, even extend the show's life, because it's like how
Yeah.
many big world-ending events can happen in Smallville, right? So the
Sure.
big stuff seems to always be happening in Metropolis anyway, and we're slowly doing more in Metropolis
There.
as
Yeah.
we go on this season. So I feel like they're just kind of naturally, I guess, slowly leading us in that direction. So it's not as abrupt of a change once we inevitably get there, and especially with all of the Lex stuff. I feel like Metropolis might be season 4 destination if we get season 4. Hopefully, we get season 4.
Sure. Yeah, no. I honestly, it'd be very similar to like what Smallville did too, because they did 5 seasons in Smallville and then 5 seasons inside the big city. So,
Okay.
um, did you see Smallville?
I've seen clips of Smallville,
Oh,
but I
okay.
am intimidated by 10 seasons worth of 23 episode seasons apiece, and it's
Sure,
like
it's
keeps
a
moving.
lot.
It keeps moving around on streaming services too, and I'll get to it one day.
It's a big venture. It took me about
Yeah,
like 4 years. Like it took me a while. It is a fun one though. It is a fun
yeah,
one if
I
you ever want to look back.
definitely plan
Um,
on watching it at some point.
yeah. So we also had Lois this week, which obviously is trying to to get Locke to see her point of view, to see
Mm-hmm.
that there is a chance at the end of all this that I don't make it. So let's think about what happens then. And of course, Clark wants nothing to do with it. She goes out to eat with I wrote down her name. I don't think they've said it too many times. Paya, I think her name is.
Paya, something like that. Yeah, like
Yeah,
which ties into something very nicely.
yeah. No, I guess we can kind of just talk about that now. Then we do find out at the end of the episode that she is onomatopoeia.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, did you see this twist coming? Was this something that you saw?
It was something that I didn't see at first, but as we were progressing throughout the season, it definitely became a lot more obvious. And especially after last week's episode, I think it became kind of apparent. And we did also maybe get a synopsis for a future episode that may or may not have spoiled the reveal slightly, but
Okay.
it didn't spoil who was under the mask, just kind of that there was that connection between Bruno and
Okay.
Onomatopoeia. Yeah.
All right. I had talked about it on stream on like someone else's stream about last week, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's a silly theory. Why would it be her? And then this week, like 5 minutes in, I was like, oh yeah, I think
It's
that's
like,
her.
yeah, it's definitely
Yeah,
her.
it's yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
Right. And it definitely ties things in a lot, especially it makes a lot of sense why she was so open to talking to Clark, I
Clark,
guess,
yeah.
in the last episode, and wanted to, go out to lunch with Lois, all that type of stuff, just to kind of maybe keep an eye on things. So does that also mean that Bruno knows who Clark is? Does Bruno know all of this stuff too?
Sure. And it seemed like she had a connection to Bruno as well. Like I was wondering if they were maybe like lovers or something, or like a sibling. It seemed like they had a close something.
Mm-hmm. I believe she's supposed to be his wife.
Okay.
I believe.
I don't know if they
Which
said it
would
in the episode. I just
I
missed it.
don't yeah, I don't think so, but it definitely implied I feel like a romantic connection there. So I believe he would be her husband. So that would
Sure.
make sense, yeah.
Um.
And she also
Good.
talked about oh sorry, I was
Good.
thinking back to the lunch. She was also talking about how her husband is all like, not wanting to accept the stuff similar to Clark. So it would make sense that Bruno,
Sure.
yeah.
I also think that's kind of interesting because like early on we kind of had this idea that like both Clark and Lois both had villains. So
Mm-hmm.
like if Bruno Mannheim was a villain for Clark, then she could be a villain for Lois. And I guess like Bruno's kind of a villain for both as well, but like you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of have that direct
Yeah.
connection as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think also again Lois's main villain is of course just
Cancer.
her
Sure.
battle, yeah. So and I think maybe Onomatopoeia will be kind of like the physical threat in a way, because obviously Superman can't really fight Bruno Mannheim.
Sure.
So, there's got to be some big physical threat, but I feel like that could also be something else that, I won't talk about it right now, because that might lead into some later portion of the season spoiler territory.
Sure. Although like this episode, like his weapons did a lot. Like his like weapons here almost killed Clark.
Yeah,
So
yeah, if Jordan didn't show up, that might have been bye-bye Superman for a little bit.
yeah. So like maybe he can stand up to Superman more than we
Yeah.
thought, right?
Yeah. And that also, I guess, brings us to the big, the big reveal with Jordan this week too, was him
Yes.
finally getting his big hero moment. I loved that scene with Lois being like, just go save your dad, go be a hero, and he swoops in there. He's wearing his new suit, takes out a couple of those guards and everything like that, and then we find out that he's possibly immune to kryptonite.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
It does make a lot of sense where like he'll never be as powerful as Clark.
Right.
But he also may not have the weakness of Clark, which
Mhm.
makes me wonder if he could potentially like maybe be even like a better hero than Clark someday,
Yeah.
right? Like he doesn't have the weakness, but that could be that could be worrisome as well. Like a
Right.
Superman that can't be hurt is a little worrisome.
Does that make him like the super overpowered Superboy that, like, fractured multiverses and stuff like that?
Sure.
Or does that somewhat make him, I guess, on the power level of, say, like Young Justice Superboy? Like, obviously he can fly. Young Justice Superboy
Yeah.
couldn't, but maybe he's just not quite as strong. Like maybe like Daxamite strong,
Sure.
you know. But it definitely gives him that leg up if he's not affected by kryptonite because of his half human side.
Sure.
Um, but I wonder if he has another weakness that we haven't found out about yet. Because,
Mm,
like Clark was saying earlier on in the episode, it's like there's so much that they don't know about his powers because he is still half human. So, what if maybe his weakness is something like X kryptonite or, something, um, but, or just like a different form of kryptonite that we haven't seen yet on the show?
sure. I could honestly see that being a potential plot line for like maybe like a
Mm-hmm.
Sam where like they go out of their way to try and find a weakness
Right,
for
right.
Jordan. And then
Mm-hmm.
Clark is like, wait, why are you trying to do this to my son? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on? But I could see maybe if not Sam, because maybe Sam wouldn't do that to his own grandson, but maybe someone else is like, okay, we need to
Yeah.
find a way to take him out just in case he goes mad.
Yeah, or I could definitely see like a fun scene with just like all the kids together, just like doing like a training montage or like
Mm,
see what his powers are capable of. Maybe
sure,
see like try different things, like oh can you see through lead? Your dad can't see through lead. Can you see through lead? Is that something that you can do?
sure,
So maybe there'd be like a fun little like one-off scene in an episode like that with them just kind of investigating the limits of his powers, maybe.
sure. That that would definitely be a lot of fun, I think. Um, but yeah, honestly, I don't have weirdly enough a lot more to say just because there was a lot of characters that weren't here this week. Like we had no
Yeah.
Sam, we had no John, we had no Natalie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which maybe that's why the episode went really fast. Like this one went really fast to me. I
Yeah, it
don't know
did.
why.
It did. Yeah, it was a very fast episode, and those last like 5-10 minutes where we got that big reveal and everything like that, the big
Sure.
fight. Onomatopoeia's powers again, really cool. Really love the visual representation of like the sound waves and all that stuff, and like the way that the mask moves. It's almost like Rorschach's mask in a way. It was really cool.
Yeah, yeah, we kind of did see his like first like super suit type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Which looked a lot cooler than like I think we all thought. Like we all
Yeah.
saw that like muddy photo, but I think let me see if I can find a photo real quick. But like when he had his like heat vision, I thought it looked like really cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, and Jordan's suit with the goggles. How does he shoot his heat vision through the goggles
I
without the
was wondering
goggles
that
being
too.
destroyed?
Are they like technology where
Like a
like they
super
come up?
polarized lens? I don't know.
Yeah,
That is weird because like Sam gave them to him and he's like, yeah, these are what from like his dad from like World War II or World War One or something like
sure.
that. So like how does your heat vision not destroy the glasses? That's like he's got like the Cyclops visor basically.
Maybe that might be possible. I don't know. I'm excited to see because they have said it's going to like evolve over this
Mm-hmm.
season.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Um, so I wonder in which way it's going to evolve.
I feel like he might get a super or like a House of El Crest somewhere maybe by
Hmm.
the end. That would be fun.
I would like the same time he gets his like full suit that they upgrade the like John Henry Iron steel suit as well. Give
Mm-hmm.
him that like
Yeah.
cape.
Yes. Yes. He needs
That'd
a
be
cape.
cool.
Give him a cape. Give him a crest. Everybody gets a cape and a crest at the end of the season.
Sure.
That'd be fun.
But yeah, that's all I kind of have here. Did you have anything?
Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty much it as well on my notes. Just the big thing I guess is the reveal that Mannheim and Clark I guess have a lot more in common than they thought with just what's going on. With both of them trying their best to save their wives, I guess is the big
Sure.
thing. He's kind of like but Mannheim is definitely going about it in the wrong way by giving people powers and all that stuff. Kind of like it's almost like a Mr. Freeze type of thing in a way. So
That's true.
it's very very interesting. Definitely not the direction I thought we were going to be going with Bruno when we first
No.
started. But it does also kind of give you a little bit of sympathy for him, which I think definitely makes a good villain when you can kind of, see where they're coming from. Even if they are not going about things in the best way, they still might have good intentions.
Sure. On, I'm also just kind of very curious, and I think we talked about this last time, on just how far we're going to take her cancer story, because like the amount of time that we've spent on it, it's almost maybe I don't think they would, and I think it'd be a misstep if they did. But there's almost been a part of me was like, are we going to kill Lois? Like are we going to get to a point where we kill her and then bring her back? I would not want that because I think that's
No.
I think that's a bad look.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. I think they've been very respectful with how they've done it so far. So if they went as far as to, have her, not make it through this and then do some comic booky way to bring her back,
Sure.
that would definitely undermine the entire
Yeah,
journey of the season, I feel like.
I agree.
So I think, obviously we know it's a TV show, it's a comic book TV show, crazy things can happen, but the fact obviously as well that she is half of the title as well. I think we
Sure.
all kind of know as viewers that at the end of the day she will come out of it and be okay. But I think they are still doing a really good job of, making us still feel for Lois in this scenario and feel like, things could take a bad turn. But still obviously have that hope that they won't.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm just curious to see like how far they'll officially take it before kind
Mm-hmm.
of
I mean, I think it's going to
turning.
go through the end of the season for sure. I think it'll be a full season thing.
Sure.
And, we might even feel like fallout from it, I guess, in season 4 if we get there as well.
Sure. Yeah, no. I mean, I would assume by the end of like by season 4 we're kind of wrapped up with
Mm-hmm.
that story. Although
Yeah.
maybe they'll take it further and have this kind of be a thing that she's always kind of having to deal with throughout the series.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I mean, it's a possibility. Yeah, I honestly don't know, but I'll be very curious. So if that's all we have, we can talk about some Gotham Knights
Yes.
next. So you've been enjoying it, right?
Yes, I have. I think I will, dub myself number one Gotham Knights enjoyer. I feel like I've had some fun with this show. I think it's definitely a good change of pace. I've enjoyed the mystery aspects quite a bit. I've been really enjoying the Harvey Dent storyline. I basically did a whole video on that from the previous episode and everything. And again, I think it's just a fun show. Oddly, I feel like it's definitely a different show than I thought it was going to be going into
Mm,
it, but just with how, especially with how the Flash season 9 has been going and there hasn't been as much enjoyable stuff in there, I'm finding that mystery and enjoyment in Gotham Knights, and I feel like it kind of has some aspects of a lot of these earlier shows, like early seasons of Arrow, early seasons of
sure.
Gotham, so I've been enjoying it.
Sure. No, I mean, I'm having a pretty great time. I like I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite shows on or anything, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not among my favorite shows or anything, but I am finding a lot of enjoyment in it that I don't think a lot of people either are, because I've seen a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, like not like the show, or just like I don't know. I'd be very curious to see why a lot of people aren't liking it, maybe as much as I honestly think a lot of it is just like this pent up hatred
Oh
for
yeah.
it, like before it even started. Like a lot
Yeah.
of people were like, "Oh yeah, this is the worst show ever," like before it even like came out.
Yeah, there was definitely I guess, sour taste in everybody's mouths before the show came out, just because it definitely felt like it was coming in here. It replaced Batwoman.
Yeah,
It was a new concept again, another take where you kill Batman right out of the gate and focus on characters that aren't Batman. Your lead is not Nightwing, but probably could have been Nightwing. So it just there's a lot of stuff that people, I guess, can latch on to not like about the show, but I feel like if you just sit down, take it in as an Elseworld story, and then just really get I guess, invested into the mystery, if that's something that you like seeing in stories, whether that be movies, TV shows, whatever. I feel like the mystery with the Court of Owls and everything really is what keeps me coming back week to week. And I feel like I
Sure.
enjoy it in the same context of something like Riverdale. You know, it's objectively not a good show, but I like it. If that makes any sense.
Sure. Yeah, no. I think the murder mystery part of it is my favorite part currently.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of hit me currently, like this is like the third DC TV like murder mystery. Like we had Stargirl last year,
Yeah.
and then back in Arrow, like Arrow season 3 kind of had like a murder mystery type thing with like Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think it's really fun. I think my favorite part is definitely Harvey. Like I think
Yeah.
Harvey is like the cornerstone of like everything. And that's kind of who I thought would be my favorite just because I love that actor.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's phenomenal. And I think this overall mystery that we have been going down with him slowly turning in to a Two-Face has been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think
The
it's such
slow
a
descent into madness.
sure. And I feel like we haven't seen too much of that before. Like I know Batman the Animated Series did a lot with him, but I feel like we're slowly getting to see that journey. And I don't think we've
Yeah.
we've ever got to do that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a different take. It's almost like unmasking somebody before they're a masked character and kind of seeing how they become that. It's
Sure.
definitely a very interesting take to see how he, goes from wanting to do his best he can for the city, trying to be the mayor, trying to solve Bruce Wayne's murder. He's doing his best to stay a good guy, while in the background is just like losing time, doing things that he doesn't remember. And just, I guess, having this, monstrous side of himself, I guess, fighting for control.
Sure. Yeah, no, it kind of reminds me, and I feel like a lot of people would hate me for like comparing these two, but it almost feels like what a like Matt Reeves Two-Face movie would like feel like.
Yeah.
Like if Matt Reeves ever like touched this character, it feels like you could like slowly do this as he like slowly like goes into madness.
Hmm.
That I think could I've been enjoying. I think it's been my highlight.
Oh yeah, and they're also definitely grounding it quite a bit as well. Like, we haven't had any like, oh, he just becomes Two Face because chemical reaction or something. Like, it's something that
Sure.
he's dealing with before the facial disfiguring later on.
Happens.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see that this Two Face personality has maybe always been there, and that he eventually, will become the villain Two Face once all the pieces come together.
Sure. Yeah, no, I also think like pairing that with like the Court of Owls with a
Mm-hmm.
storyline where like you can't trust anybody is really
Yeah.
intriguing. Like I think that's such a fun concept where it's like, oh, one side of them may be against it, but the other side is like totally like involved and deep
Yeah.
into like everything.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. He can't even really trust himself in many ways. It's just like the Two-Face side of him is working against the Harvey Dent side of him, and just trying to, I guess, maybe like throw him off, trying to keep him,
Sure.
out of the loop, that type of thing. And this goes back to, I guess, a lot of theories that I've had, that other people have had since the show started, is that this Two-Face side of Harvey has been working for the court, possibly is the one who, killed Bruce in the beginning, and Harvey's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like chasing his own tail, I guess, in a way, trying to, peel back the layers and uncover maybe what he did, which would be a very interesting revelation, I think. And I think they could pull it off very well if we get a scene where Harvey figures out, oh shoot, I was the one who killed Bruce.
Sure.
Like, that could be really cool.
I really like the whole ending shot here where like he's looking
Mm-hmm.
into the like broken mirror and you got to see like the two sides of him. I thought that was amazing. I thought that was
Oh
really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, they've done a really good job with that Two-Face imagery this entire season. Like, there are a lot of shots, like when I'm going through for videos, getting screenshots, where you see like it's just strategically focused on just half of his face, or it's like half is covered in shadow or whatever. I think they've done a really good job with that. I guess, visual foreshadowing.
Sure. Yeah, no, sure. So a big part of this episode was also Joe Chill. which
Mm-hmm.
I was very intrigued about this. We heard a couple months back that he was casted this season.
Yeah.
I was very curious to kind of see where we went with him. I thought this actor did a really good job. Like I thought he was a really good Joe Chill.
Yeah, yeah. This was kind of the episode I think that a lot of the people that saw this show early were talking about, like episode 6. They're like, get ready for this Joe Chill episode. This is gonna be, the big one. And I think it definitely lived up to the hype. I know you tweeted out about it after the show was over that it was one of your favorite episodes of the
Mhm.
season. Definitely one of my favorite episodes of the season as well. I think it again is doing a really good job of peeling back the layers of that mystery, showing that things are not what they seem and kind of solidifying like, hey, this really is a different take on Gotham City. I would have
Sure.
never thought that we'd get a Joe Chill that was innocent.
Sure. You also kind of like mentioned over on Twitter. So since Joe Chill is like in his 50, or he's been locked up for about 50 years, this
Mm-hmm.
Batman is like really old. Like he's probably in
Yeah,
his 60s, 70s.
yeah, because I think it's Bruce is supposed to be like 8, 10 years old, something like that. Or what Joe Chill said it, I think, is
He
that
said eight,
Bruce
I
was
think.
8. Yeah, Bruce was
Yeah,
8. Turner was 8 when he lost his parents as well. So if he's been in prison for 50 years, Bruce was 58, almost 60. So he had been Batman for a long time, which I
sure.
guess maybe gets me thinking while we are at Turner Hayes, at Carrie Kelly as Robin and everything like that, were there a bunch of other Robins? Did Dick Grayson
Sure.
go through here? Jason Todd had
Sure.
all those characters, come and gone because we're with the Bruce that was so late on in his life, maybe.
Sure. And also I think makes more sense why he's like dead, right? Like
Yeah,
I like the idea of like an older Bruce dying instead of like a
right.
30s, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like a like in his prime. Also makes sense why like there wouldn't be like an Alfred. Alfred's
Yeah.
probably dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um
it just kind of it lines things up a lot better, I think, and it makes sense. Maybe it also makes sense as to why he was investigating the court. I know a lot of people have been giving this show flack for, Bruce supposedly being the world's greatest detective and not being able to figure out that, the Court of Owls existed or whatever. Maybe he knew about the court from like day one and he was like, okay, I know if I investigate this any further, I could end up dead. Maybe
sure.
we, be Batman for a while, let things kind of play out, maybe do some investigation in the background. And he really went, full in on this investigation maybe once he was a little bit older, once he maybe had his, I guess, his affairs in order, because maybe he knew once he started investigating the court that he wasn't going to come out alive.
Yeah, sure. I still kind of think that this Batman's I'm not saying, don't want to say he's weak, but I definitely get a vibe that he's less capable than like a lot of the other Batmans that like we've seen.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, this is definitely not an older version of like Robert Pattinson Batman.
No, no, or even like a Michael Keaton that like we
Yeah.
were seeing inside the like Flash trailer.
Yeah. Well,
Like
yeah. Yeah,
we'll talk about
yeah,
that later.
now that you mention it, yeah, I mean if Michael Keaton's like still kicking around at 70 or whatever, there's no
I
reason this Bruce should have.
like he's going against like a whole like Kryptonian. Like I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you've just completely disproven my theory and I've given the writers way too much credit. Who knows?
Yeah, no, I don't know. But I am really enjoying it. I'll be honest. I really enjoyed and I'm still not completely on my names. Uh, Carrie this week. Carrie
Mhm.
and her like whole hospital story here.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite fun. I feel like that's not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Oh, no. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying like I don't think we normally see like a lot of like hospital scenes and like superhero
Mm-mm.
stuff. Like that's not usually the place that we see a character spend. But I think kind of I enjoyed this last week too, just kind of getting to see the like everyday life of her, where like she's
Mhm.
trying to be this like vigilante, but like she also has homework. Like she
Yeah.
also has a curfew, and her mom's trying to do all this stuff. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed all of that stuff.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a definitely a good side story. Kind of, brought the story kind of full circle from where we started with last episode as well. And it became a lot more of an important side story, I think, than I thought it was going to be when we first started. I thought it was like, oh, that's just a reason for her not to be kind of involved in the main Knights story for this season. But it all kind of it all played into each other, I guess, by the end.
Sure. I do want to talk about that final like fight scene. Now we had a
Mm-hmm.
huge, I guess I won't say our first big fight scene because we had a couple, but they go out and they're trying to stop this drug train thing that's happening. What did you think of that whole scene?
Well, I mean, I thought definitely, like you said, Duella had the right idea of peacing out because I'm not about to take on a bunch of mobsters with automatic weapons, and I've got my fists. That's definitely the definition of bringing a knife to a gunfight. But I guess Duella forgot that they are the Gotham Knights and they have the most impenetrable plot armor of all time. So while yes, it was a very convenient scene, I enjoyed. I think the fight choreography was really good. I think everybody had a nice chance to shine there, and
Sure,
I definitely would like to see more of them. Kind of taking on a bunch of guys and showing off their skills as much as possible.
sure. I think we are. Last time we talked about Gotham Knights, I had said that it wouldn't make much sense if they got their suits right away.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're at a point where we should start looking into some suits. If we're going to be
Yeah,
doing this more
at
on
least
the
some
like
masks.
regular, I think we need to start training a little bit. I think we
Yep.
need to get some masks, some like weapons, and then start
Yep.
doing that. I thought
Oh yeah.
again, I thought it was kind of silly, but I thought the scene itself was honestly like really cool. Like I thought the fight itself like looked like really good.
Yeah, it did. I thought it looked really good. It was an interesting set piece as well for the fight, just having it all be in that like boxing gym, using the plates and everything that were all
Yeah,
around
yeah, it was
as
cool.
weapons and stuff. Maybe not as intense as the Punisher gym fight scene, but you know, I think they still did a really good job. It was fun.
Sure. I also just liked the like we had this like quiz master like side
Mm-hmm.
plot. What did you think of that? Like all like this whole like research part of the episode.
I thought that it was really it was interesting for sure. I like all this like code breaking cipher stuff. I think it showed a different side to the investigation. And I definitely like them, I guess, diving into it a little bit more rather than just saying, "Oh, I cracked the code off screen." As we actually got to
Sure.
see, the process of uncovering that, having them, work together on that and discovering, how to actually break the code and what the ciphers in the ledger actually lead to.
Sure. Now he's normally like a super villain, right?
Yes,
The
yeah,
like
is
quiz master
usually
or whatever.
Clue Master, I
Clue master.
believe.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's it.
He referred
So
to
I wonder
himself
if
as the
we're
master of clues.
sure. I wonder if we're gonna see that evolve. Like, honestly, he could maybe be like a cool like villain of the week, or even like a maybe even like a big bad for like a season 2 or 3 if we ever get like
Yeah,
that
it
far.
it could be interesting.
Sure, a real like personal villain, and
Mhm.
also not like I also feel like that's like the perfect like sized villain as well. Like it's not your
Yeah.
Joker or Bane, but like he's definitely a villain I think that we can actually use.
Oh yeah. I could definitely see like even like a maybe like a two-parter or something like that. And it
Sure,
would be definitely maybe like, obviously we got a lot of progression with Stephanie kind of actually joining the Knights out in the field this time. So, maybe that could be another thing to kind of push her towards either wherever they want to go with her, whether they want to make her a Batgirl spoiler, whatever. If her dad is a villain at some point, that could definitely push that story forward.
sure. Yeah, no, I think she was one of my favorites this week as well. I loved her whole thing, kind of like freaking out when she's just like punching the drugs or something. Like
Yeah,
she's kind of
yeah.
like having that like breakdown. I was like, oh, that's actually kind of like a nice scene. Not,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's not nice for like her, but I thought it was like a
Yeah.
really like cool scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely progressed a lot this week, and again, it kind of played on from her side story last episode, which I felt was like okay, like how much does this really play into things? But it was kind of that motivation this week as well. So
Sure. We also evolved. I honestly, when it comes to ships, and I apologize, my dog is snoring. I don't know if anyone could hear that, but
No worries.
I honestly don't know what direction we're taking these like ships, because it feels like each episode there's
Yeah.
a different pairing,
Yeah,
and I
they're
was
they're
like,
just, they're trying to confuse people.
this way or this way. Like we had let me look up names, Turner and Stephanie, right?
Mm-hmm.
They almost shared a kiss.
Yeah,
And
there was a very like intense moment there at the end. It's saved by the text message.
sure, and then she goes to the hospital, and then I forget the guy's name that's
Uh,
there, but we've seen a couple
Brody.
times. Yeah, Brody, and seems like now he's in the middle of a love triangle um with Stephanie and with and Carrie, right? Like now it seems
Yeah,
like that's the love. There's so much going on. We also have Turner and like Duella seem to have like maybe a thing going, and then there's Stephanie and Harper. Maybe it seems like they've
right.
kind of had a couple
Yeah.
of, and even Stephanie and like Colin as well. It seems like they could, like, there's so many directions. I was like,
It's just like a crazy like a theory board. It's like, all right, this is connected to this and this and this.
it's very Riverdale. Like I like
Yeah.
Riverdale. Every character has kissed
Oh
every
my
character.
god. Yeah. If you haven't seen this season of Riverdale, oh, you're in for a.
I've My favorite game is watching the Riverdale promos and trying to guess what's going on.
those
'Cause
promos like make you go like, what the heck? And then after you watch the episode, you're even more confused.
I respect that show so much. I'm like 2 seasons off, but like
Yeah. No,
the
I love
stuff
it.
that they've been able to do, like it really feels like they have like a dartboard, and each season they throw a dart, and it's like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
which is this season's plot line? But no, I'm curious how we honestly will probably not get any of them. Like I feel like we'll end the season before any of them like do
Oh yeah,
anything.
before anything actually really develops. I think
Sure.
the I guess we're gonna see a lot more of from the teaser for next week. It seems like we're gonna see more of Harvey's love life, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, I have no idea, man. It's going to be a. I'm curious because we're about halfway through, right? We have about
Yeah.
seven left of both
Yeah,
shows.
this was
This
episode
was
6. I
6.
think it's 13 for
Hmm.
each season, right? Yeah.
So yeah, I am actually very curious how we kind of start wrapping everything up, how we end the season, because I don't think we can defeat them this season. I know we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
I think they have to carry on into season 2. Either that, or I feel like it's gonna be very rushed because we haven't even like cracked the surface of like the
Oh
Court of
yeah.
Owls or anything,
Yeah,
right?
no, I think the Court of Owls will definitely carry into a second season, but I feel like it's going to be all kind of out in the open, maybe. Is like there's going to be there's less
Sure,
mystery. It's maybe more so like, okay, we uncovered the mystery surrounding the court. Now we actually have to go take down the court.
sure.
If that, and then maybe we'll have, Harvey full on Two-Face and everything like that. Because I know Misha Collins did post at one point like him getting that like facial mold and everything
Yeah,
for a potential Two-Face prosthetic. So that might be, something we see towards the end of the season that'll carry into a potential season 2. And I'm definitely hoping for a season 2 because, like I said, number one Gotham Knights fan right here.
yeah. No, I am really hoping that we get something else with them. I've been enjoying it. I want to see it. It seems like a show. Gotham Knights feels like a show that could just start in a season 2. Like it feels like season 1 might be like, okay, we're introducing everything and these characters, and it feels like by the end of the season that might get costumes and suits, and
Mm-hmm.
it feels like that might be the start of their like superhero show journey.
Yeah.
And I hope they get it.
Yeah,
Go
it's
ahead.
almost like this whole season's like one big like proof of concept pilot.
Sure.
It's like if we can get through this first season, I think we could get some really cool stuff.
I agree, Robert. I agree.
I agree as well.
That was really fun. Yeah, but I think that's all I have for Gotham Knights. If you want to get into some of our promos and trailers for this week.
One more
ahead.
thing I guess
Go ahead.
for Gotham Knights was the Talon appearance. And
Yes.
he like, was like, I'm gonna just stab Lincoln March right here. Two-Face and Harvey's like, what's going on? And then he goes over to him and just like, stay out of my way, Dent, and then pieces out. So obviously I think go ahead.
I'm kind of disappointed they didn't kill him. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's alive. Why? What are we doing with him?
And then the other thing too, I guess, the power goes out just as Joe Chill's being executed, do you think there's a
Mhm.
possibility he didn't get executed,
Oh,
and
I
that
think they want him. Yeah, I think they want him for something.
maybe the court is saying he's dead and they want him for something?
Yeah.
Maybe he comes back because
I didn't register that
we
until like
didn't
right
see it
now, but
happen.
I 100% think that they want him for something.
Mm-hmm. If we don't see a body, they're not dead.
Yeah, I think I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Maybe they turn him into like a Talon.
Yeah,
That'd
that's
be kind of
possible.
cool.
And maybe that's how we get with Lincoln March not dying. Maybe that's how we get him as Owlman, because I know that theory's been thrown around a lot
Mm,
as well. Because in the
that'd be
comics,
really cool.
obviously, he is Owlman, working for the court at points. So maybe that's why it was a non-lethal strike, because
Maybe.
the Talon didn't come for his head.
Sure. Maybe
So
season 2 villain.
yeah, possibly. But yeah, I
Yeah.
guess that was about it. Just little extra stuff.
Alrighty. If that's all you have, then I feel like can move on to some of these trailers because I think we
Yes.
quite a fun couple of things.
What's going
That
on?
scared me.
You can't trust anyone.
This is crazy. We gotta be bad to get the goods. So what, we're art thieves now? We're kidnappers?
One thing I'll say is I'm so excited this woman's back because
Yeah.
I love her so much.
Yeah, no, if there's one person crazier than Duella, it's her.
This actress is so great. I'm so happy that we casted her this season. Honestly, that's probably my favorite moment inside the whole show. I think
Mm-hmm.
just that scene with her
Yeah.
and Kelly and Stephanie. It was like
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of scared. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is like kind of freaky.
Yeah, and this is like, yeah, Court of Owls are not messing around.
Joe Joe sticks around to make another Batman. How crazy would that be?
Joe would have no chill at that point.
Oh yeah, but I honestly I don't have much thoughts about this trailer. I did not see this kiss the first time around. That's
It's
Colin?
it I thought that was is that Harvey, maybe? Oh no, wait.
Harvey with
No, I thought that was Harvey and what's her name? Rebecca March. But maybe not. Am I seeing that wrong?
I thought that was I for some reason I thought that was um Kelly. I guess not. Hold on. Okay, that's not Kelly. Thank goodness.
No.
Okay. Oh, he stuffed her in like a car. We kidnapped her. Oh, okay. I didn't watch the trailer at all, I guess. I blanked out, I guess. Do you have any thoughts on this promo at all?
I mean, I think it's just the Knights going back out on the field, doing more, pulling out some more crimes, I guess. And we get another Court of Owls member with his nice flip
I
knife.
love these masks. I
Yeah,
think that
they look really good. Yeah. They definitely look better than the Court of Owls masks in the game.
Do we think this is Stephanie? Or not Stephanie, Kelly? My goodness, I need to get these names right.
Maybe.
It looks like
Or
that
no,
might be
maybe
her,
it's
like,
a separate. Maybe it's a separate mission because it looks like Duella and Carrie are kidnapping the Court of
yeah.
Owls lady, and then maybe Turner and everybody else goes to steal this art stuff.
Maybe.
Let me
I
out.
love this lady. Big explosions. They can afford that at least. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's
Turner.
Talon, huh?
Yeah, looks like it. Turner's got his sword back too.
Heck yeah. And a top hat.
That's his. I guess that's his suit. He's doing his best Alfred cosplay, maybe. Alfred with a sword.
I love it. So dapper.
Nice and fancy.
Ooh, what's this?
Becoming an assassin, getting your finger chopped off.
Yeah, it's like a doll.
Yeah. Ooh, that's frightening.
Ooh. Who do you think that is? A like old woman?
Yeah, I think she's trying to cut Duella's finger off. Maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not a good situation.
Oh, oh my gosh. Hold on. I keep missing it. Next week's thumbnail. There we go. Okay.
Gotham Knights. Tune in next Tuesday night only.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see more. How we kind of wrap everything up.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I've definitely been enjoying this show a lot more than I thought I was going to, and that's, I guess, really all that matters.
Sure. I think I just like having these shows on. Like, I think
No,
I just like having stuff to talk about.
Exactly. And it's sad to think that, this could be the last like big stretch of having, things to talk about, having, make decisions on what videos you're going to make. It's like, oh, what show is better this week? What theories do I have? That type of thing. But,
Crazy to think this might be it. Like,
Yeah.
come May,
it
might
which
be
is trying to make it count here.
Yeah, same. I'm hoping Superman Lois at least gives I want like a cold turkey. Like, I don't want to quit like cold turkey. I hope we at least have something next year. Especially with 2024 being such a dead year. Like, there's so little next year.
Yeah,
so
if they keep these shows going, I think, that would help bridge the gap until we get
Oh yeah.
It's like maybe that would be a good strategical move for them.
That's what I would have done. I would have kept like Superman Lois and Titans and like Doom Patrol for like at least this next year until we get more content in 2024 and 2025. Or I guess just 2025. But yeah, I guess we can move on. So we didn't get a Titans, or I'm sorry, a Superman Lois promo this week.
Right.
For some reason,
it was weird. Like I said, it's like they usually play them right after the episode, and they just played the flash teaser.
And then we got one for Gotham Knights. I feel like they would have wanted one for
Superman and Lois.
Yeah. Maybe Superman Lois
like
over Gotham Knights.
Just maybe somebody just hit the wrong button.
Yeah,
to be honest, like somebody just hit the wrong button and played the flash trailer again accidentally.
Maybe, and I was wondering maybe if that Lex trailer that we're supposed to watch is next week, maybe,
or like I don't know. Like, it was interesting because they didn't say like when he was coming. They're just like, all right, season 3, Lex is coming at some point.
Sure.
I would assume that it would be in the last handful of episodes.
Sure.
Just because if you look at the synopsis for the next few episodes, that they, don't mention anything about Lex, and I feel like the episode that he finally pops up in will be a big episode. It's gonna be, the way that they do their synopsis, like Lex Luthor is back or something like that. It'll definitely be, I feel like, a Lex centric episode whenever they choose to bring him back in.
Sure. We had talked about it last time. I'm still confused why we know it all. Like, I wish we could, like, he could have shown up and we would have had no idea.
Exactly. That would have been one of the biggest like shocks on that show since, I guess, the reveal that John Henry Irons was not Lex Luthor when we all thought that he was. Like, that would have been a big thing to see. And that's, I guess, kind of the one thing that I don't like about being so connected to all of this is that very few things are surprises, I guess, anymore. So, it's sad that we know, but I guess also great because we get to speculate and theorize and everything like that.
Yeah.
So it's a win-lose.
Yeah, for that's, I think, one thing I'm excited for like the DCU, as I'm hoping that they can hopefully keep stuff closer to their chest.
Yeah.
More mysteries as the show unfolds. I mean, look at Peacemaker. Like, we had no idea for that Justice League cameo. Like that was sweet.
Right. Yeah. I
want more stuff like that, I think.
Yeah, keeping the right amount of mystery and intrigue, while also, I guess, getting us hyped is really the best balance that they have to find.
Sure. it's nice having some stuff to talk about, but it's nice not knowing some things.
Yeah.
I still can't believe last year we got Matt Lesher back, but they showed it inside of the promo. Like, we had no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
It would have been a complete shocker.
It's so weird, right? Because like they reveal certain things that make no sense for them to reveal when they haven't been like leaked or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or when something leaks, like, you know, a new suit or something like that, and they don't release like a high quality promo image or a poster or something showing it off, and all we have is just like this, you know, set picture of it. So it's weird to see like what they announce and what they don't, and I'm not really sure what their, I guess, criteria around that is. But you know, it's interesting
for sure. All right, so we have this Lex promo here, and we're gonna watch it here just real quick.
Looking for a trim fish? I cut my own hair.
Luther's been in prison for almost 2 decades, stewing over how to get even.
If he's released, I'll deal with it.
It's not if, it's when.
Gather my things. I'm a free man. I'm a free man.
Alrighty, Lex Luthor, everybody, man. I like, first of all, I just love that we've been doing this season, right? Like, promotion for over the last couple of years have been very bleak, unless it was like a crossover or something. We didn't get trailers like this, even though like season trailers are like 30 seconds. They're like promos itself. And this season's like, we've been getting full on, like, I guess this is still counted as like a promo, but like 40 seconds is still longer than what we're kind of used to. We had that trailer for Oliver's return like about a month ago. And we've been doing like previews and stuff like that for like the Superman and Lois and stuff like that, which we haven't gotten in a very long time. I wonder if like the budget from all the canceled shows that we got are going towards like promo.
Maybe, or they're just like, all right, well, maybe we just promote these things like crazy, and the network will keep us around, maybe, you know. And I like how they're doing, if you've seen that they've been uploading like those behind the scenes interviews and stuff like that, especially for Superman and Lois. They've been doing that a lot. I know they've been doing that a lot for Gotham Knights as well, just like cast interviews, that type of thing. And then like TV Lines releasing those interviews week to week sometimes with Grant Gustin talking about the final episodes, that type of thing. So it's just nice to have that promotion there, kind of getting you hyped for all of this stuff, and, you know, maybe getting a little bit more buzz around these things than you normally would.
Sure. And I kind of think it's working too, because I've seen a lot of talk for it this year. It feels like people are finally like, oh, this is a fun show. You know?
Yeah, you're right. I've seen a lot more people, I guess, finding out about Superman and Lois, which is interesting, and it's nice to see, you know, more people from different areas, I guess. You know, watching a show that they might not have watched because, you know, maybe they weren't a big Arrowverse fan or anything like that, but they're like, oh, this Superman show is very high quality. You know, I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah. I've been seeing that like diner fight for like the past 3 weeks straight. Like everyone is talking about it, and I think it's really cool just seeing the like mainstream like DC fans like actually like be into this. It is really cool, and it, you know, it does give me hope. And also like James Gunn has like talked about his stuff too. Yeah. Like it's like I think he's a fan of the show, which gives me a little hope. I do wonder how much like control that like he would have over it. Like if they canned it, could he be like, I'll take this now, like put it over here or something, like or is that like out of his like jurisdiction?
I don't know. Well, like obviously he's a big Superman fan. He's writing Superman Legacy. He's directing Superman Legacy, I believe, as well. So he obviously likes Superman. The character. He you know, is a fan of these stories, and I could definitely see Superman and Lois sticking around until it's time for Superman Legacy to come out. Yeah. Which, you know, could give this show life until 2025, possibly. Sure. And kind of do the same thing that we've done with The Flash. The Flash has been airing, and it's going to very conveniently come to an end right before the Flash movie comes out. Sure. So I could definitely see the same thing happening.
Yeah, no, and I also, if he's a fan of the show, that makes me very happy, because I think that he could take, maybe not inspiration, but like if this is the kind of Superman that he likes, I could see a similar adaptation for his movie, which I think we will get. Like everything that he's talked about Superman has made me incredibly happy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, James
So
Gunn seems like the guy that will give Superman his trunks for sure. Like I think we're getting full on classic Superman look for sure.
oh yeah, I think we need to. Like I think we really need to go back to the basics.
Especially for the first film. Especially for the first one.
Who do you think the villain will be?
For Legacy?
Yeah.
I mean, the safe bet would be they're probably going to be setting up Lex in the background, but most likely do something smaller, something street level. I've seen people throwing around like Superman versus the Elite type of thing. That might be fun to see. I think it would be good to start off with something smaller. I think just like a more so a grounded Superman story to start things off with, and then kind of maybe tease out things that could happen later. I hope we eventually get to like maybe Brainiac. Yep. I was literally just saying that as you're pulling that up. Yeah,
I think Brainiac would make a really cool like Justice League villain, as like your ending of like chapter 1. I think could be really cool.
Yeah. Or like a Superman Supergirl team up movie.
Yeah.
And they fight Brainiac. That'd be fun too.
Sure. Yeah, I don't want Brainiac for like movie 1. I think that's
no,
at least
definitely not.
I say no later than movie 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Or again, like Justice League, I think could be kind of cool. I would say I could see Lobo maybe. I think Lobo's like he's not grounded, but I feel like he's like kind of small enough that you could totally make it like
and then maybe have it set up like a larger threat, like who sent Lobo, basically.
Sure.
I think something interesting too at some point, maybe like if we get to like Warworld, that'd be fun. I always thought that could be a fun Arrowverse crossover, is do a Warworld type of thing, but obviously we never got to that.
Sure. But speaking of like this promo, are you excited for him to pop up? Are you a fan of this casting?
Yeah, no, I mean, I hadn't heard of the actor beforehand, but I know people love Michael Cudlitz. I believe he was in The Walking Dead. He looks perfect for this role. Like, he's definitely an imposing threat, a very menacing looking Lex Luthor. And we're seeing here, he's, doing his bodyweight only prison workouts. You've heard of Lex Luthor. Now get ready for Flex Luthor. Like, I mean, he looks like he could give, Superman a good physical fight. Maybe again, if this carries on into season 4, which is kind of my theory, is he's gonna just be in the background, kind of show up towards the end of the season, not really be a main threat, but be somebody maybe taking advantage of where we leave off with Bruno and everything like that, and setting him up as our possible big threat for season 4 if we end up going to Metropolis permanently as well.
Yeah, sure. Like I definitely think he's a very I think no earlier than like maybe episode 10, because that because that casting was pretty recent too. Like it hasn't been that long. So yeah, I would say he's probably going to be like a Penguin in like the Batman, where he's like he's there, he's causing trouble, but he's not the villain. Do you think he'll kill like Bruno? Because that's been a big theory going around.
I don't know. I don't think he really has any connection to Bruno, honestly. I feel like they're maybe playing it like he could have a connection just to kind of like throw people off. But from what has been said, they very much so want to focus on Bruno as the big bad, as the main threat for the season. I don't think Lex is like secretly funding everything. Or is secretly like pulling the strings on what Bruno's doing. I think it's very separate, and I think from what Bruno has even said in the past, like he's not a fan of Lex Luthor. Like Lex wasn't there for him and his community and everything when he needed that type of support. So I feel like Lex is just gonna take whatever happens here as his opportunity to like reintroduce himself, kind of fix up his public image and everything like that, get back on top, and formulate his plan, I guess, as to get back at Superman.
Sure. I'm also very curious, because this is a Lex that has not been in like the public eye
Yeah.
Like he's been in prison for 20 years. I'm curious to see what that looks like. Like what does an old Lex Luthor look like? I feel like we normally don't get to see that. Like it's normally, I mean, we've had like middle-aged Luthor, but like this is like 20 years in Luthor.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how he differs from other Lexes.
Right. But then it also, I guess, kind of gives a lot more background onto this version of Superman as well. Like
Yeah.
if he's been in prison for 20 years, like Superman's been around obviously for quite a while in this this earth and everything like that. So he was definitely, I guess, taken care of very early on in his career as Superman. So it would be very interesting to see, I guess, how that all unfolded. I hope we get maybe like a full episode, or at least, like it would be really fun to get a full flashback episode, kind of like we did season one. Yeah, that would be very interesting.
That would be, I would love that. I would. Tyler Hoechlin had mentioned that like one of the episodes this season was like one of the best like Superman stuff ever. Maybe that could be it. I'd love.
I hope so.
I'd love to get those trunks back. I love that suit. I love that suit so much.
Yes, I did too.
And if we go back that far, maybe we can like introduce Jimmy inside the past, and then season 4 we get him like full time.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited to see more Lex, or I guess Lex in general.
Same here.
See what he's up to this season. Seems like Lois is very afraid of him.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I also like that he just shaves his head, right? Like he's not like inherently bald.
Yeah, he's like, I cut my own hair.
That's interesting as well. I think I like that.
Yeah.
It's very different.
And I think that, I guess, also kind of throws out any theories that people might have of like, all that. Obviously they did it over on Supergirl with the like the kryptonite poisoning and things like that. And people might have thought that could, I guess, tie into all the stuff going on with Bruno. Like maybe he gets out of prison because he's dying as well. But I don't think that all would play into it, just because, I don't think that there's really any overlap. I think they're very much so just setting him up as a future villain.
Yeah. I could see him as like a like Maxwell Lord type character. Like I could see him maybe not even like a villain at all. Like he's a villain, but like maybe not like the main villain of like any season.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I'd want, especially after Bruno for season 3, I don't know if I'd want to see Lex for the main villain of season 4. Not saying he can't be a villain, but I don't think I want him to be the villain. Because I think that's the fun thing about like Superman and Lois is that each season they kind of tackle like very smaller villains.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the fun of it.
I mean, I know we talked about it for Superman Legacy, but maybe we get Superman versus the Elite in season 4. Maybe Lex kind of brings that all together. And then possibly if we're going to go into like a season 5, then, I feel like that would be the way to end the show, is make Lex your big bad for your final season. Like maybe set him up in the background in season 4, have him kind of like pulling some strings like people thought he would have been in this season, have Superman face off against, some like smaller threats, that type of thing. And then have him really be like the big main final boss, kind of like Lexo suit, all that type of stuff for, whatever ends up being the final season for the show.
Sure. This is a good point. There's always some humor with Lex, and this seems separate from John Cryer and Michael Rosenbaum. It does feel like a very like down like a down to business like no jokes type of Lex.
Yeah, he definitely reminds me of like maybe like the animated Lex from
sure,
like the old like Superman cartoons, Justice League animated series, that type of thing.
Sure. What if he like runs for a president?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
President
Luthor.
I kind of want a President Luthor storyline. Honestly, that's what I would do for the like DCU. Is I would have like him slowly start to like run for president, and then by movie 3 he is the president, and that's when he starts doing all his evil stuff.
That'd be cool. And it's something, I guess, that it seems like they're doing with Marvel kind of as well. If you've been keeping up with some of like the Captain America 4 rumors and stuff like that with Thunderbolt Ross And
yeah.
you know, like Kingpin being like mayor of New York, Thunderbolt Ross possibly being president, and stuff like that. That's interesting stuff as well.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm curious where we're all gonna take it all. But lastly, or I guess we have a couple more things, but the big topic here. Now, I'm not gonna play the whole trailer because
So it's a long
I don't
one.
think it's a longer one. But before we start kind of getting into this trailer, what did you think of it? Our second Flash trailer here.
I think it once again proved that James Gunn was not lying when he said that it's a really, really good comic book movie. Like it looks very comic booky. Like you know, it's obviously it's Flashpoint and everything like that. There's some really good looking shots in this movie too. Like it looks, you know, visually pleasing. You know, it's got a very good color palette and everything like that. I know some people will probably find a little bit of issue with some of the CGI, maybe some of the actual like character models and stuff like that. A little bit later in the trailer look a little rubbery, maybe. But aside from that, I think it looks really good. And you know, obviously you're seeing a Flash team up movie kind of. So I don't know, it looks really good. Like I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, no, I'm honestly like Flash is my favorite character, I think. Like I love Flash and there's definitely a part of me that I've been saying over the course of the last couple of years. Like I wanted a Flash movie, right? Like that's what I wanted, a very basic Flash movie. But looking at this movie and kind of what it's kind of like become, I'm kind of glad we got this movie. Like I'm very glad that like this feels like you're like Infinity War or like an Endgame or even like a Spider-Man No Way Home. Like it feels like an event. It feels like just a DC movie. Like it feels like a Justice League type event. And I feel like we have never got this to this scale, to this budget, to this like we kind of got the Zack Snyder Justice League, but I feel like that felt a little different because it was very streaming. Like it was I don't know, like this feels like a DC event. That's I've never felt to this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely, like, the movie has definitely evolved a lot over time. To be, you know, it started as just like your standard Flash movie. Like I remember when they first released those like concept art things when it was like just Barry like doing CSI stuff and you know like very grounded originally. But I like this direction that they're taking it, especially if they're going to, you know, be doing this big universe reset. So kind of, you know, bringing everything they can together and just giving, I guess, one last hurrah for this old DCEU, and then really setting things up nicely for this new James Gunn DCU.
Sure. Like I feel like this isn't the finale that a lot of people want. But I do think going back to like Man of Steel is kind of like a cool ending. Like there's something poetic about that.
And also the fact that it's, I think, exactly 10 years later, Man of Steel 2013, and this movie coming out in 2023. It's kind of
it works,
interesting, like, Man of Steel, like, anniversary in a way. And I guess the only thing is it's kind of sad that we're not going to be getting any Henry Cavill. I mean, that's the one, I guess, drawback. Like, I love the fact that they're making Supergirl a big character in this movie. You know, I think if she's received well in this movie, I'd love to see her this version of the character in the Woman of Tomorrow movie. But you know, it's definitely a little sad that we're not getting Henry Cavill Superman, especially if we're getting all these ties back to Man of Steel in here.
Yeah, no, I wish that we could have started with like the whole Justice League. Like I think that would have been a perfect starting point. If we could have had your like Henry Cavill Superman and your Jason Momoa and your Gal. And I wonder why some of them were cut, because Gal was in the intro. I wonder what could possibly be in there that they had to cut it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, it would be interesting if it started very similarly to how, you know, the animated movie or something starts. Like, it's very much so just like a small little Justice League team up. Then Barry's like, I'm going to go mess the timeline up. Bye. Like, I don't know. Like, it would be interesting if we could just get to see all those characters together one last time. before Barry goes to, reset the universe, but it seems like we're really just going to see Ben Affleck Batman, possibly Gal Gadot Wonder Woman, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused about Gal and why they cut that, because that was a first 10-minute cameo, I think.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill seemed like a post Flashpoint cameo, and that's why it cut. And I can get that one. Like, I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very curious to see why. And maybe we watch it and we're like, oh, that's why we couldn't do this and this and this. What are your thoughts on the meme going around, the really weird looking suits?
Well, I did see a picture where it looked like they were in a Fortnite lobby. And I think that fit very well. They overlaid the whole Fortnite overlay and stuff like that. I think it's just, again, these trailers are not. I've seen a lot of people talking about bad shots in trailers. Here's the thing that we got to remember: these trailers are very much so compressed when we see them online, especially if you're viewing them on Twitter or something like that. These are not high quality. You're not seeing it how it's going to be on the big screen or anything like that. And we still got a couple months before the movie comes out, so there's a possibility that some of the CGI and stuff is fixed and everything. But you can't judge things how they look just strictly based off of how it looks in one weird little still frame of the trailer. If you take it like that, okay, they look like PS3 characters. But when you see it in action, it looks really good, and I think this whole scene is going to look great when you see it on the big screen.
I agree. I think this is going to be a movie when we watch it and there's going to be no issues. I think it's going to be oh yeah, this looked amazing.
Yeah.
And then it goes on VOD and streaming and we're like, oh, that shot is a little funky. But we're also pausing it and putting it in weird angles.
Right.
Thoughts on these suits though? Just the suits alone.
I think they look really good. I mean,
okay.
I have a couple little fixes I do. I feel like Supergirl needs a little bit more red, maybe in the boots. But aside from that, I think that suit looks great. Obviously, young Barry's suit's not supposed to look good because it's just supposed to be a spray painted, duct taped together old bat suit. So I think that looks the way it's supposed to look. And then the main Flash suit is, I guess, maybe where people will find some issue with it. But I think it looks really good in a lot of shots, when it's fully lit up with all the lightning pulsing through it and everything like that.
Yeah.
I think obviously the only thing is the headpiece is not great. It's very reminiscent of Flash season 5 helmet, so it's not great. But it's not awful as far as the helmet and stuff goes. But I think the suit itself looks really good. But the only thing is you can kind of tell that he was probably mostly in a mocap suit.
Oh yeah.
That's maybe the only issue.
It kind of looks a lot like our current Flash suit, like our CW suit.
It
just
does.
With less lines.
Yeah, it's almost like a very streamlined version of it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
We've got the practical suit on the CW, and this is kind of we're going to throw the big bucks at it and try to make it look a little bit more comic-y as well as they can, I guess.
More like armory too. It looks more like a mix of the old Justice League suit and the Flash suit, and you kind of merged them together a little bit.
Yeah.
I love the Supergirl suit. I think that looks gorgeous. I'm actually very excited for her. I think she's the thing that I'm most excited for. I think she's gonna kill it. And then I did have an issue with that suit, the bat suit at first, and then I was like, oh yeah, I guess that does make sense why it looks so goofy. I think there's a reason for it.
Yeah, I think it's not supposed to look great.
Sure.
So, what do you think about the lightning colors though?
I was wondering about that because there's two, right? There's orange and blue. Let's see if I can find it.
And it seems like in this trailer we saw that our Barry still has the blue lightning talking to the young Barry, but it's when he's not in his suit. So are we thinking that the upgraded suit maybe gives him a stronger connection to the Speed Force, which makes his lightning yellow, or is it just like yellowy orange because the suit is red and that just changes the lightning color? But why would it be blue when he's just wearing normal clothes? I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be like a connection to the Speed Force. I would say, because this looks like a final act type scene.
Yeah.
Like he's going like full power.
Yeah, no, I would definitely like it to evolve as we, go throughout the movie, and like he maybe like basically graduates to the yellow lightning, which is a stronger connection, which is why the young Barry has the blue lightning later on, is because it's a weaker or a newer connection to the Speed Force, maybe to just kind of differentiate them. Or maybe it's just a technical thing, and that's how they differentiate the two when they're both on screen together, is one's going to have yellow lightning, one's going to have blue lightning. That way you can easily keep track of them.
Sure. So we think he's going to like lose his powers, right? Like that's how we're going to start the movie, kind of like the Flashpoint movie.
Yeah. Is it? I feel like, maybe he has them right when he gets there, but he slowly loses them the longer he's in Flashpoint, and that's when, he'll go to Bruce and, try to get his powers back.
Sure. So this scene, he's probably inside the Speed Force here, right?
Yeah, it looks like it. And it looks like he's talking to the younger,
the other Barry,
younger Barry, yeah.
Which I really like this scene. I think it's funny. I don't mean to dog on like the DCEU, but I think it's very funny. He's like, "We don't kill. We're not going to kill," and his mentor was known for killing. I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's a rule. That's a very loose rule sometimes.
Sure. I do feel like though that was part of his arc. Like it was his arc learning not to kill. So maybe I there's probably some like leeway there, but
I definitely hope in the new DCU that we start out like, just rule number, like you just get a little text slide before the movie starts. Batman's number one rule: he does not kill. Batman will not Batman will not kill in this movie. Every takedown he does is non-lethal, just like the Arkham games. Thumbs up.
You know what? I think I like this universe more if I think of it of like Elseworlds. Like if I think of this as like a completely separate world where characters do things that they normally wouldn't do, then I like it a lot more.
Yeah.
But speaking of Batman, we got Michael Keaton doing his "Let's Get Nuts."
You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
It's really funny because like this is clearly the better version of this, right?
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that's like, we just had it. It's not special now.
Right? Yeah. No, it was funny. It's like when you're right. It was like when we were watching the trailer. It's like, like, oh, cool. They referenced it, but the Flash had just referenced it like 2 months ago. So it almost makes it, a little bit less cool, but I mean, it's still cool because it's Michael Keaton saying the line again. So, Flash was a reference to Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton's just like, yeah, I'm the original.
Yeah, no. I'm very happy. I saw people like very mad that they put this in, and I was kind of shocked.
It's just a fun line.
It's fine.
People hate fun sometimes.
But no, I very much, I think he's going to be an absolute joy in this episode. We saw the white hair in the first trailer, but I didn't think it was him. Like I thought this was maybe like, I don't know, maybe like an Alfred or something, but it looks like it is him with like long white hair.
Yeah, so maybe that's how he is like when they first go to him, and then they convince him, and he cuts his hair, puts on the bat suit, and he's like, all right, now it's time.
Also, I love just all these like different suits.
Yeah. Especially, I think it's, what is it, second one on the left. Second from the left has like the blue blue cape and cowl.
Sure. This one has like goggles, which is pretty cool.
Are those Jordan's goggles?
Maybe. These all feel very like in line too with like his style of suits. Like there's no like teched out suit here. They all feel very in line with like what he would wear.
And I love how all the symbols have the big yellow background as well.
Sure. So do we think he's retired here?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think by the time, Barry goes to this version of Bruce, like, he hasn't been Batman for quite a while, it seems like.
Sure.
I would assume, maybe the same amount of time that's passed since, we saw him last in Batman Returns has possibly also passed.
Sure. Although I don't think it's the same version. Like, I think it's
No.
I think it's meant to mirror that version, but I think this really is timeline change and not like multiverse hopping.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like this is definitely just a different version of our main DCEU timeline.
Yeah. I must say though, I think this casting is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like this kid looks just like small Ezra. Like I think it's amazing. Let's see here. This dad, this is a new actor, right? This is different from the
from Justice League and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. I'm curious how they'll make the scene different from like the TV show, because like that scene is so iconic that I think for a lot of people it's gonna be very hard to move past it. Like it's
Right. Well, it definitely looks like they're going to be doing it similar or more similar to like how the comics and the animated movie and stuff did. It was, Barry comes home to find his mom has been, killed by the Reverse Flash, rather than it happening, at night in a little bit more of like a, I guess, cinematic way that we got on the show. It just seems like they're doing that take on it at least.
Sure. I love the Speed Force. Like, I think this looks incredible.
Yeah, that looks great.
This is probably end of the movie too. Then, like this whole thing probably looks because look at the suit here. I think it looks great here.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's like in certain shots it looks really good, and like when he's in the Speed Force and he has the cowl down, I think it looks really good. Similar to how like the CW suits and stuff oddly look the best when the cowl is off.
Yeah. This cowl though, it looks bent.
It's a little chunky.
Yeah, it almost looks like a whole new suit here.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a couple suits in this movie, but
I feel like it looks different when it's, I guess, powered up and infused with all the Speed Force lightning,
which I like quite a bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we got Zod. Who's this kid? Is this just a random kid?
I think just a random kid.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on one second. Behind him, you see the dude in like the knee pads and stuff like that. Is that young Barry? Because wasn't there like a Funko that came out where he's in that like proto looking suit, and that kind of looks like him.
Sure.
Maybe it kind of looks like the figure. I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things that don't exist.
No, I think that's definitely a Barry.
Yeah.
Of course, we got Zod coming back. We talked about that a little bit ago, but I'm very excited because I think he is my favorite villain in this whole universe.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be definitely a very, very cool scene, but I definitely don't think this isn't the final battle, because there's still a character that we haven't seen in any of these trailers that we know is in the movie
true.
Based off of toy leaks and stuff like that. So I think we're going to get
like Dark Flash or whatever.
Yeah, so it's going to be definitely something separate. This is going to be the big fight with, our Barry, young Barry, Supergirl, and Keaton Batman. But I think there's still like, maybe 30, 45 minutes left in the movie after this point.
That's a fair point. I think there definitely feels like there's a lot we have not seen, which is very exciting to me. Like, I think both these trailers have done a good job of giving us so much, and also like still feels like I know nothing from the first act or the final act. It feels like most of this feels like from the second act.
Yeah, like they're showing a lot of stuff, but from the same point in the movie. Like I feel like they're really showing us maybe like, I don't know what the runtime on this movie is supposed to be, but I would assume it's, somewhere in the 2.5 hour range.
Sure.
So I feel like what we're seeing here is maybe like the middle, like 45 minutes to an hour chunk, is we're just seeing different parts of that. But there's a lot of stuff, I guess, towards the beginning that we don't see, and a lot of stuff at the end, obviously, that we haven't seen either.
Sure. I love this entire sequence here. Like, this is probably my favorite part of the whole trailer.
Means hope, right?
I like that a lot. That's very very Smallville, very like Superman and Lois.
Yeah, and the suits look great there too.
They do, yeah. I just think that she's going to steal like every scene. Like
Oh yeah. I'm very excited to see her version of Supergirl.
Sure. I can really see her playing the like version that like James Gunn wants. I think like she, I get the like destroyed vibe from her, like the very dark and kind of gritty Supergirl. I guess it just depends what age they want her to be. Like maybe she's too old or too young.
Right.
I also just think it'll be very awkward. Like I can already see people like being very upset if we have her and then not Henry.
Yeah, and I also feel like too, if the rumors are true and James Gunn really wants to keep Ezra Miller around after this, then it would be very weird if they didn't keep Sasha's version of Supergirl around either, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty mixed if we're going to keep her or not, or keep them or not. I could see them literally like they're not going to say anything until at least no later than July. Like there's no chance.
Yeah, no, I don't think that we're gonna get any confirmation of the future of the Flash until this movie's out on like Blu-ray and stuff. Like they're gonna let it run its course in theaters. They're not gonna say anything because I feel like if they say, oh, you know, some of the stuff doesn't matter because these actors aren't returning or whatever, then it's gonna definitely take away from the box office here.
When is San Diego? Is that July?
I believe so. I think it's either July or August.
Because that's when I've said that they should put out everything, or like not everything, but like a Superman casting, a Batman casting, Wonder Woman casting, Lanterns. Like that's when I would assume we'd get all that, but that's very soon after Flash.
Yeah, and do we know if we're getting a fandom this year or not?
I think they should.
Yeah.
I think a fandom this year would go so hard.
Or maybe next year when there's not much going on. That would be a big kind of like hype building thing. Maybe throw that maybe in replacement for like a summer release. You know, maybe chuck that around like June or something.
This summer, I think, is gonna be a lot of fun because they need to get casting like now, right? Like if Superman starts filming in the fall, I think they said.
Yeah.
And Waller would be short behind it, if not. Well, I guess Waller wouldn't need to cast too many new people, right? They already have all their DCEU people, but Superman and Authority at least, and maybe Green Lantern would really have to start casting like now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's definitely needs to be like a quick turnaround here, I guess, if we're really gonna, you know, jump right into things in the next couple of years.
But I do think fandom would be a perfect place to do all this. Like make your mark, because there's never going to be more news than right now. Like this, it's insane. I'm very excited. Like I'm very excited just to get all of these announcements.
I think maybe like a physical fandom, like how Star Wars has Star Wars Celebration. Like you know, if they did that, that could be pretty cool.
I would love that, but I could see that getting very messy.
Yeah.
Like I could see like riots and stuff, which may like I don't know about. I would love it, but I think DC's. I think they might need to wait a couple years to do anything like in person.
Yeah, maybe.
I do like just like in motion. This does look really cool though. Like
them like sliding in is
without
really
pausing
nice.
it. Just like it looks so cool. Like I'm so excited.
I'm gonna use that GIF on Twitter all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Blue Lightning here. This is probably like very early on, huh? Like first act.
Oh yeah. And it ties in a lot with that that international trailer. There's like an extended version of that.
Sure. I like this casting too. I think she looks really good as Nora. So it seems like she knows. Like, seems like he told her what happened.
Maybe, yeah. And I guess this is like his version of Flash Time, maybe. Like maybe that's like his last. Maybe that's the last interaction with his mom before he has to go fix everything. Like that, he's staying in that moment as long as he can.
Yeah, they have a high bar to beat the season 1 finale.
Yeah.
That of course, Ben Affleck, Bruce. I'm gonna miss him, man. Like I haven't been a huge fan of like what they did with him, but I love that casting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think maybe the biggest, I guess, missed opportunity with the original DCEU is that we never got that Ben Affleck like Assault on
Movie.
Arkham style
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. Like that's like a whole bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Barry here, right?
Yeah, it looks like it follows right after where he was, zapped.
Sure.
And then Supergirl's taking him back up, maybe to get like one last, I guess, jolt of lightning or something.
Sure. You think he dies maybe, and they're like bringing him back?
I mean, it would be again very similar to how they do it in the Flashpoint
Animated? Yeah.
Animated, yeah.
Interesting. I love the shot though. I think that's a gorgeous shot.
Yeah. Just coming through the clouds there.
Very very CW season 2 poster.
Yeah. Yeah. And that kind of reminds me of like when Barry was in that what was it, the device when he goes into the Speed Force. I guess that was, what was that, season 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he like
Yeah.
just vaporized himself.
When Azum stole his powers, yeah.
Yeah. And then we got
I miss
the
season
runaway
2.
dinosaur episode.
Oh, so good.
Reminiscing.
Oh, I miss season 2 so much. I was shocked to see this scene. She kind of like ponders him.
Just like chucks that big old piece of whatever that is at him, and it just bounces off his helmet.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. That was kind of like spoilerly. Surprised they actually showed that.
Yeah.
Good old Ben Affleck. And again, yeah, this feels like final acts, like save the day.
Mm-hmm. And I will commend them for not throwing in any big, I guess, final things.
Sure. This scene I think looks really cool. Like it seems like it's the same shot from like earlier, but like it seems like where is it? Oh well. But if it feels like this is all like one scene, right? With him getting his powers back.
Yeah, he'll get zapped there, then Supergirl brings him up, and then. But I guess the question is, which version of Barry is it, though?
Sure.
Well, is it our Barry, or are they giving young Barry powers? Is that how he gets his powers?
Well, this is orange lightning. The last one was red lightning, right?
Possibly.
Hold on. Oh, I keep losing it.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, no, it's two different. Yeah, maybe and possibly maybe they have to our Barry loses his powers and they try to give him back to him, but it doesn't work. But possibly the way that he gets his powers back is by giving this younger version of Barry powers, which, catches up to him in the timeline and gives them both powers, possibly.
Sure. I would say this scene is the scene down here is probably first. And this one's second.
Yeah.
Because it's turning into orange or red or whatever.
And it looks like people at CinemaCon have actually seen the movie at this point. And
yes.
I got a little headline here. The Flash dazzles exhibitors at CinemaCon. Emotional. Some people crying. The movie will have legs.
Wow.
That's the headline. I didn't read the full article there, but So it sounds like. Yeah, sounds like the reactions are good.
Interesting, man. I was wondering if anything else was supposed to come out because I heard that we're supposed to get like a whole bunch of like new stuff today, and I didn't see anything for like the main like DCU stuff.
Yeah. I think the big thing was just the Flash trailer and then the screening.
Sure.
But apparently, I'm not sure how true this is, but the version of the movie that they're showing off at CinemaCon is a slightly edited down version of the actual or the theatrical release.
I heard the like VFX stuff like wasn't done yet.
And I heard that they like cut some possible spoilery scenes and cameos and stuff out.
Well, that's very smart. I would hope so.
Yeah. I don't want to know.
It's going to be a mess. I'm hoping they can keep some stuff undercover because I will say I talked about this in a stream earlier last week. if Grant's in the movie, I don't want to know. I don't want to know until I'm there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like some of the cameos, the way that they did things on Titans would be a really good way to, you know, show that off in the movie as well. Maybe just like stock footage, that type of thing, if they're not able to actually get the actors in.
I completely forgot that we didn't talk about Titans.
Yeah. Titans crossover episode was great. We got a lot of cool stuff. Stargirl was there.
That's what I titled the video at first. I didn't mention it.
All
All right, let's move over to Titans.
Last thing.
What did you think about Titans, man?
I loved it. It was a very, very unique episode for the show. It was a very different episode. You could tell that they put a lot into this one. And I think Ryan Potter, the actor that plays Gar Beast Boy, he co-wrote the script with Jeff Johns, I believe. So you knew it was going to be a good episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think this episode was a lot more than I was expecting. And I think most people were expecting it was kind of a crazy turn of events. It felt like an event. And, you know, it kind of always did. I think they pushed this out more than like any other Titans episode. We had like a full-on trailer for it. But no, it like they pulled all the stops, of course.
Yeah.
So what did you think of their little like multiverse journey?
I mean, it felt like the fact that Gar was going on this like spiritual like fever dream trip type of thing the entire episode, like that's kind of how I felt watching it. You know, I was like, is this all actually happening? When, you know, the lightning comes out and hits Gar and he goes over into you know, the Stargirl Earth, and you see the stock footage of Grant's version of Barry running. He's got the gold boots and everything. So that was you know, more recent footage, obviously. And just kind of seeing, you know, Titans characters interact with other characters that we, you know, never thought we would see. Like, I never thought we would see Stargirl interacting with this Titans version of Beast Boy, and we got a really good scene too. Like, I know a lot of people were making jokes. It's like, you know, how Titans is obviously a lot more mature and, you know, kind of vulgar sometimes, obviously, and like Stargirl is very, you know, happy and just like a nice chill show, and, you know, it's like, how are those two gonna mesh? And I think they did a really good job with that. My only question is, I know from those set pictures they were like inside of Blue Valley High School, so I wonder if there was another scene that was possibly cut. Maybe, you know, there was some further interaction. Like, I almost feel like this episode could have been like a full hour if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
And like, you know, maybe there's just a lot of stuff that was, you know, left out, cut out, maybe that would have been in there, say if Titans was going to get a season 5, or I know they were talking about if you know, Stargirl had gone on for another season, that they would have maybe tried to do a full episode where she was crossed over with them as well. But I think what we got, I was really happy with.
Oops. Yeah, no, I was quite happy with the scene because this was the thing I was most excited to see, how they kind of wrapped it all up, because this is the final time we'll probably ever see this character.
Yeah.
Did you think it was all like done well as our final appearance?
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely done very respectfully to the show and everything, and it once again also kind of proves that Breck is like the perfect casting for Stargirl. And I feel like if we see Stargirl in the new DCU, it has to be her. Like, you know, I can't at this point see anybody else in the role.
Yeah, she's perfect. It kind of felt, I think this whole episode really felt like an ending to like the DC universe. Like this felt like more than anything, like with like Harley Quinn and with Swamp Thing and with Stargirl.
Yeah.
And like Doom Patrol as well.
Yeah, it was just one last hurrah to that old streaming service.
Sure. We talked about this last time. But again, I do wonder if like they once had plans to make it all connected.
Yeah, I mean,
like it feels like that was Titan's original plan, and then all the other shows were like, nah.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like it. Like they originally, well, I mean, Doom Patrol obviously started as a Titans spinoff. Those characters showed up in Titans first, and then they kind of slowly made them, off on their own Earth. Obviously they were all kind of announced and came out around the same time. And then obviously Stargirl kind of moved over to the CW, and it was less connected to DC Universe and everything like that. So I feel like for sure in the early days there were probably plans of like connecting all of those DC Universe shows together, and this is kind of the culmination, the last hurrah that we could get, finally seeing a lot of these characters interact.
Sure. Swamp Thing I think could have been really interesting for next season with like where Gar is heading and his like connection to all these like living creatures and stuff. I felt like they could have had some interesting stuff. Of course, like Titans and Stargirl, very different in tone, but I feel like as far as like their like teams could have been really cool. Yeah. Both being just having these like large like superhero teams and stuff like that. And then like Doom Patrol, like this episode very much felt like, oh yeah, like they are like one and the same almost. And we ended it here. Now I'm still a little confused where he is here. Do we think he's Earth 9 or Earth 21 here?
I mean, obviously Doom Patrol Mansion, I feel like it's gotta be the main Titans Earth, because the version of Doom Patrol that we see on the Doom Patrol show doesn't know Gar, right? And Gar was with this version of the Doom Patrol and everything like that. And I've seen the theory thrown around that maybe they'll end off the season with Cyborg fully joining the Titans and just kind of, have that as like the story continues type of thing. This character that we've wanted to see on Titans for the longest time, get that classic, Cyborg Beast Boy dynamic. And obviously I think we'll get that in the next episode, but I feel like that would be an interesting way to kind of leave it off, and then also not really conflict with anything going on the Doom Patrol show as well.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible. I'm trying to think if this is the like Doom Patrol Earth. Yeah, Cyborg was on the Justice League, right?
Yeah, I believe in the Doom Patrol timeline.
So maybe he knows like his own branch of like Teen Titans or something. Like maybe. And we'll maybe see like different versions of all of our characters. That would be an interesting take, is like a just different version of the team. The waffles. I love the waffles. That's great. This
Teen Titans
man,
Go Rough, it's great.
I love this actor so much. Like I think he's a perfect Cyborg. Yeah. He's so good. It kind of does suck that we didn't see them sooner. Like I can already tell I'm gonna love them together.
Yeah, and I know they've been posting a lot of like behind the scenes pictures and stuff for the next episode. Like I think this interaction will definitely have a big payoff.
Yeah, sure. I could definitely see him joining the team at the end of the season. I think that'd be so cool, getting that like OG lineup.
Ooh, I wonder if we'll get like one final like team up shot or whatever at the end, kind of like, what was it, at the end of which X-Men movie was it, where they all had those suits that never came back?
Apocalypse,
like,
I think.
Nice, they were like the good classic suits, and we had that in that final shot of it. Maybe we'll get something similar to that. Like maybe we finally get to see, like, I don't know, my vision for it would be we see Titans Tower and all of them together. Like that'd be great, but
sure,
we can only dream.
It would be so cool. It wouldn't happen, but like if we can kind of have like a Stargirl type ending, we like jump forward and we can get like a Kid Flash cameo or like a Roy Harper cameo. Probably not our like Roy Harper and Kid Flash, but like like cast someone and make suits. That would never happen, but that'd be awesome.
It'd be fun.
Bring back Donna, right? She's alive currently, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, hasn't even shown. I keep forgetting that she exists on the show because she was dead and then she wasn't dead and then she left. Yeah.
I think that was like the right choice, because I think the casting this season has been the best. I think they found that perfect balance.
Oh yeah.
I think the biggest issue, they had way too many characters. They didn't know what to do with them.
Yeah, and in some of the I guess middle portions of the show, it definitely felt a lot less like Titans, but like kind of just like, oh, all of these characters have been members of the Titans team in the past, so we're just gonna throw them all in one show. Like this season definitely seems more so like a tight knit team that's actually so.
Titans is like a fashion show. I think for like the majority of it, where it's like we got this character, and we got this character, we got Lex and Slade and Donna and Hank and Dove and all these characters, but they don't really do anything with them.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of show them off and be like, yeah, we can use Bruce Wayne.
We can use all these characters. We can make amazing looking suits.
Yeah. Thoughts on Shazam being the movie that they use from the DCEU?
I think it's fun. I think they threw him in there just because I guess it's still very
relevant.
Short after Shazam came out, or Shazam 2 came out. And maybe it would have seemed like kind of repetitive maybe if they threw in like an Ezra Miller Flash or something.
Sure.
So I think just they just chose whatever they wanted as their DCEU connection there.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm surprised they didn't go with like a Henry Cavill, but maybe they weren't allowed.
I think to avoid confusion, maybe.
You know what? That's probably it's probably smart we don't bring him.
Yeah. They just I guess wanted to kind of avoid the confusion there.
That
but
makes
I think
sense.
It's great though that it kind of connects this all again, like they did in Crisis, connecting it all to the same under the same multiverse. And now it's interesting, right? With the universe reset with the Flash movie, are we still technically going to be in this? Since he's just changing timelines, are we still going to technically be in this same multiverse? So at the end of the day,
sure,
James Gunn's new multiverse is still the one created by, our Arrowverse Crisis, created by Oliver as the Spectre. Is that going to, in the background, still kind of going to be the story of it? Or is it literally just a complete multiversal reset? This is its own multiverse, and we're going to create our new multiverse post Flashpoint.
Sure. I mean, I would assume it's going to be the same. Like, I feel like a whole multiverse Crisis event would be a little bit too much.
Yeah.
For this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'll ever acknowledge it. Like, I doubt James Gunn will ever be like, Stephen Amell, Green Arrow, reset everything or whatever. Like, I don't think so.
I mean, I feel like that'd be like an interesting, like, I could see him just like replying to a tweet like that one day. Is like, is this the same multiverse that Oliver Spectre created? And he's like, believe what you want. you know.
Yeah, I guess it just I'm very curious if Grant is in this movie, and if because if he is, like there's no, like, it's canon. I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of this stuff, a lot of the connections that they made in this Titans episode are great. But it will potentially not mean much after the Flash movie, Yeah,
and I'm fine with that. I don't need.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how crazy would it be if they reference this tomorrow?
I mean, that'd be great. I mean, why not? If everything's ending, I mean, I feel like that would be a great way to kind of, cross acknowledge everything, is if, maybe again we'll get that kind of like stock footage type of thing that we got in Crisis, like we got in this. Maybe we'll have a scene of Oliver explaining the new multiverse to Barry, and then we'll maybe just get a reuse of all those shots from the end of Crisis, maybe.
Superman,
and
Lois,
be the extent
and
of it.
Gotham Knights, and Naomi if they want. the two Naomi fans.
Yeah.
I think it is kind of like, it's not a crossover, right? But our Barry pushed Gar into the Stargirl universe, so there's a little tiny itty bitty crossover there. Like they,
I mean, it's all the same. It's all the same multiverse, and I mean, apparently the version of Jay Garrick that we have on the Flash is still the Stargirl Jay Garrick. So, which kind of also again makes me think, where the heck did he get his helmet? So, who knows? Yeah.
I have to say, and my only issue with this entire episode was the music.
Yeah, the music was a little weird. I definitely would have picked a different song.
I would have had no song at all. I mean,
Or maybe just like an orchestral
Yeah.
soundtrack type of thing, not a licensed song.
it was such a weird decision. I don't. They had two as well. Like they started with that one. The first one was
Yeah.
horrible. Like
Yeah.
like that's a fine song, but it was the most like poppy, like
was-
in your face song.
It was like oddly out of place.
Yeah.
It wasn't done well like a Legends Return of the Mac type of thing, or
Sure.
thong song. It wasn't. It didn't fit, oddly. So
And I love that whole scene where like Gar goes back and he has this like deep emotional scene with like his younger self, and he's like, "You'll never be alone again," and it just ruined by like the
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I can overlook it, but if we're
Sure.
nitpicking, then definitely like that.
Yeah, no,
definitely
I-
would have changed the music.
It took me out a little bit.
Mhm.
I do wonder what a whole episode would have looked like with these two.
It would have been fun.
It would have. Again, I think the Titans cast would fit in very well with Stargirl.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if he would have done it, because I know he was one of the people who were pretty against the cameos in like Crisis and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, out of all the characters though to interact with Stargirl from Titans, I think the best choice was having Beast Boy do it.
Mhm.
I think they definitely play off of each other very well.
Sure, they had the same vibe.
Mm-hmm. It would definitely be a little bit different, broody Nightwing or something like that would be an interesting contrast.
I think Rachel could have been cool. I think
Yeah.
Rachel and Courtney could have had an interesting like I think they're very similar but also very different in like tone and style and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like a Starfire Raven that like you would see in like Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, no, I thought this episode was a lot of fun. I thought it was.
I did too.
I'm curious how we wrap everything up. We got 3
Yeah.
left. We got a lot to do.
Yes, I know. This is the big home stretch here, and we're gonna get into full on brother blood craziness territory.
What did you think about like swapping because this was supposed to come first?
I think it worked the way that they did it, but thinking about it, the way that this was such a standalone episode, it doesn't really matter where they placed it, but I think the fact that we're going to play on from this episode in the next one makes sense. It would have been weird that we have this story, then 2 episodes completely disconnected, then we go back to it. I think it just flows a little bit better having, Gar's stuff, taking place while those first 2 episodes happened. We saw them, and then we're going to carry on from this and most likely, cross paths again in episode 10, I believe. So
Sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I'm curious. Like, I'm also kind of curious just how the Doom Patrol stuff ties in, because like I was very shocked when like the episode just ended.
Oh yeah,
I
me
was
too.
like,
I
oh.
was like, wait, that's it?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I thought we would have wrapped up all the stuff, but
Yeah, I was definitely under the impression that this was all going to be
Contained.
one big crossover rather than
Sure.
setting it up kind of for the next one too.
But yeah, no, it seems like they'll be maybe next week.
Yeah, I would hope so.
And then
I
we
think-
have everything with like Jason and Tim like training each
Mhm.
other.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
I am too.
I know a lot of people not massive fans of the Red Hood season and everything like that. I've
Sure.
become a very big Red Hood fan, and I think
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be fun.
Interesting. But yeah, I've kept you here for 2 hours. And I apologize.
No, you're all
did
good.
this once
We
again.
didn't go as long as we did last week.
Yeah,
or last time.
Just like speed round really quickly. Tomorrow we have our massive final ever crossover events.
Yes.
What do you want? Like, what are you thinking? How are you feeling?
Okay, well, we definitely need one final scene of Barry and Oliver sitting at the bar sharing a beer.
Oh yeah.
And then we need a scene of Oliver being like, I'm a multiversal spectral entity, Barry. I don't need to drink a beer. But, I just hope we get some really good, Arrow callbacks. Just one fun final crossover, setting us up for those last handful of episodes with our big final arc and everything like that. This has obviously been the most anticipated episode of the season so far, and I'm just really excited to see something that I didn't think we'd actually see,
Sure. Yeah, I need a cameo from every single Arrowverse character that's ever existed. They got to squeeze it in about 45 minutes. They can do it. It's fine.
Even Donna Smoke.
Oh yeah, she's number one. I need her. No, I mean, I think this was just my only concern. I think we got 45 minutes. There's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we got Oliver Queen, we got Bloodwork, we got John Diggle, and we got Wally, and there's a lot, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe the big fear is maybe like Wally won't get as much screen time as he needs. And this, I don't think we're gonna see Wally anymore. And he's kind of gotten sidelined a lot throughout the show, and for many different reasons. But I definitely feel like Wally deserves a good send off. There needs to be a good final, like, true goodbye between Barry and Oliver, a true goodbye between Oliver and Diggle as well.
Yes.
And just kind of like a nice little end the multiverse continues type of thing. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I honestly think Wally needed an episode more than Oliver. Like Oliver had an entire season, an entire crossover. Like, even the last 3 seasons of Flash have like been like bringing him up constantly. Wally has got like so underdude, like, year after year. Like, we haven't seen him for 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, he showed up, what was it, shortly after Crisis with the the Death of the Speed Force episode.
Yeah,
and he was, you know, spiritually connected to it and everything, which I loved. That was probably my favorite version of Wally that we got.
Yeah.
But I just hope he's done justice, I guess, here at the end.
Sure. I think Eric like treated him very well, so hopefully he can again here. And I like that he seems to be kind of almost like the center of it, like with like Bloodwork kind of going after him instead.
Right.
Like, I think that's very fun.
Trying to do kind of the same thing he did to Barry back in the beginning of season 6.
Right. Yeah, no. I'm I'm nervous. I wish he got a like whole like interlude episode to himself.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about this last time, but imagine those 3 interlude episodes were just one big Wally arc. That would have been great.
That would have
been awesome. But
honestly, swap out Dreamer for like Wally even.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been kind of cool. You could have had that like Iris Wally like bonding.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think you could have done like a Mindscape thing with like him, maybe, since he's so like connected to like the forces and stuff.
Yeah.
That could have been cool. Yeah, but I hope it's good. I hope everything's fun with it. I just want a fun episode. Like, I don't need it to be perfect. They like stated that like it's not gonna like tread new ground. It's just kind of be kind of like a remember the like good old days type thing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun episode. As much as people like throwing this term around, it's going to be a filler episode, but it's going to be a fun filler episode. Like, it's just going to be one last, you know, crossover, fun, goodbye type of episode,
Sure.
And then we get into just Flash stuff for the last 4.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to tie into the final arc. Like, I wonder if the stuff they do here affects maybe Eddie. Like, it brings Eddie back.
Know.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe we get like a post-credit scene or something like that, kind of setting this stuff up. But maybe, you know, with Oliver obviously getting involved, there's something multiversal going on here because Spectre is kind of like the protector of the multiverse, and he's only
Sure.
getting involved because maybe that's at risk, and, you know, maybe something that happens here triggers whatever happens with Cobalt Blue and everything like that in the last few episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course Diggle. Like, it's kind of insane to think this might be the last time we see Diggle.
At least on the Flash, at least in the Arrowverse. Maybe he'll still show up at some point on Superman and Lois.
Maybe.
I hope.
It's crazy at the end of this Green Lantern, maybe? Do you think we see Oliver?
I hope. Maybe. I know it's the theory has been thrown around that Oliver was the one that like sent the ring. Maybe he'll
That's
be
my
like,
headcanon, yeah.
He'll be like, "Hey Diggle, why'd you throw my ring away?"
He just like snaps and it's like it's on his finger.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Or we get a nice callback to that, you know, "Hey John, where's the ring?"
Oh, I think they need to do something, man. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to see him like suit up, but
But
I mean,
just,
that'd be nice, but they're not gonna make a suit.
I mean, the fact is that the green Spartan suit could be his Green Lantern suit, just I guess without the helmet.
Sure.
It's just give him like a domino mask instead.
Yeah. I wonder what the plan was. Like, I wonder what they. It's so weird because I think there was clearly an stories that like we didn't get told there.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
wonder because COVID happened, right? And they had a whole arc plan for him across like
Right.
all of the shows.
Right, and he was appearing on Flash, Batwoman,
Yeah.
everything, Superman and Lois when it was still connected.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, if again, I think it almost goes back to if that Superman and Lois Batwoman crossover happened, things would have played out a lot differently.
Sure.
But since it didn't, they had to kind of disconnect things. Things were wrapping up, things were getting canceled, things were ending, and they didn't have time to maybe fully flesh out what they wanted to.
Sure.
But
yeah, no, it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, man, it's been a while. Thank you so much for hopping on here and chatting about a lot of things. It's
Yes.
it's been a crazy couple weeks, and I think it's going to continue to be a crazy year. Of course, I hope to have you on once again at some point. It's always a pleasure having you on and chatting.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks again for having me for such a big episode here.
Do you have anything that you want to promote?
I mean, go watch the Flash episode tomorrow night. I mean, it's gonna be great. And
Yeah.
if you're looking for a more, I guess, in-depth breakdown of the Lex Luthor trailer, I just posted that over on my channel earlier
Yes.
this week. That's the latest video, and probably planning on doing something for this Flash episode later on in the week, maybe.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a crazy one. But yeah, that's all for me. If you want to go check out all of his stuff, it's all linked down below. His channel and his Twitter and all that jazz. A little promotion. I will not be doing a live after show tomorrow. Instead, we will be doing it on Friday with my good buddy Connor. She's been on the channel for like many years now, so it's gonna be very fun to talk about the Arrowverse one last time. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Bye-bye.